The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
The top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday night, another Industry of Comics show, and we got an interesting one tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring in Dennis. Got my compadres here with me, and some interesting stuff to talk about. How you guys doing?
Good, good. Dennis, you get that squirrel? You're also on mute. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I got the kid off the goddamn Wi-Fi playing 15 video games at once.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So,
it should be a good week.
Yeah.
Topic tonight. New reports coming out from ComicsPRO that local comic shop day was a success around the country, I guess. And I felt like this was the perfect show to talk about it and to ask our viewers and retailers out there, especially brick and mortar shop owners, obviously, if comic industry events at local comic shops are dead. And the reason why I wanted to ask this is because me, as an outsider looking in, like I always do, I piss these guys off by doing it. I felt like local comic shop day was like a, huh? What do you mean? When was that?
Okay, Brian. Emmet, did you sit through that whole day of programming put on by ComicsPRO at New York Comic Con?
Yes.
Did you even hear the phrase local comic shop day is a week away?
No, never a week away. They did mention it, but they didn't say
It was
it's only a
September
week away.
27th, Dennis, not October. It was September 27th.
Oh, September 27th.
Oh,
so it was
yeah.
right.
So
How come
you
they didn't
think they
mention
would-
what a success
yeah.
it was?
Yeah.
Wait, so it wasn't this past Saturday?
See, that's what I'm
No.
talking about. Exactly.
Oh,
Like,
I thought it was past Saturday. What the hell?
so that's exactly what I mean. Like, and
First of all,
we've
Brian,
we've also talked about Free Comic Shop Day dying and being dead, and so much so that I don't even know who
Right.
bought it. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there was
Universal
an announcement.
bought it.
Universal bought it. They bought it from their partners in crime with the other company. But so let me go back in history. Local Comic Shop Day was announced like 10 years ago. I want to say 2015, 2014 at the earliest. And it was if you wanted to participate, you had to be a ComicsPRO member. You had to pay like $200 just to participate. Something stupid.
The first
And
year. Then
the
it went
first
down to
year.
50.
Okay, but either way,
Yeah.
it was, and they were going to do it on Black Friday weekend. It was Black Friday. It was something like, oh, you're going to have this extra. I'm like, I don't need something extra on Black Friday. They're either coming or they're not, and I think they were trying to like schedule it. And I'm like, do it like in December, I'm not that my input was ever paid attention to, but I was like, but we're not competing with $5 toasters at Walmart with a comic book that we're selling.
well,
You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
the level to kind of try and achieve is local record shop day, right? Or isn't that what it is?
Right. Yeah.
Which is
But
a
see,
huge
that's-
part of that industry, if I'm not mistaken.
And it's a week before Free Comic Book Day. So they had to pick a spot after that. And I think they picked a bad spot. And clearly they've been moving this thing. Emmet, did you pay attention when previous years were? Or is like September 27th the new spot?
It has moved a bunch. To be honest with you, I can't remember because I rarely ever participate. I think
Yeah.
one year I did because it was before exclusives and variants got really crazy, and they had a couple of really cool variants, so I wanted to get involved. It cost me $50 up front to be involved, but then I think I bought 100 of them amongst all the books. There was
But
like
did
3 or
anyone
4
come
books.
in just for it?
No. That's why I didn't participate.
Well,
the
you know
year
what's
back.
interesting
All
about
right.
that? One of the things that they bring up in their article is the fact that retailers are having variant fatigue and that could be a problem with this. But here's the interesting thing. In their article, and we'll get to this in a second, they talked about it being a success. So we're going to ask that question across the board to everybody. We also are going to talk about something very interesting that we love talking about every week in pickups, but the fact that there are comic collections constantly coming into comic shops, and big comic collections, big key collections, like the things where people are saying, oh, they are dwindling. We're not getting as many as coming in anymore. There aren't these big collections out there.
Yeah.
And
Or you'll never see them again.
yeah, you'll never see this type of thing again. This won't happen in the future. That's wrong, you guys. People die, collections don't. Okay. So,
Yep.
you know, they just move hands. So we're going to talk about that. And then a couple other things, but yeah, 86th episode of the Industry of Comics show tonight. I want to say thank you to everybody that joins us every week live on this show. You guys make this a lot of fun, and you know, most of the questions that we ask and the things that we talk about is for you guys to not only get information from, but also add to the information. And if you guys are catching this on a rewind and want to add to the information, there's a comment section down below. We'd love to hear your comments, especially if you are a retailer, whether that's online only, brick and mortar, whatever. We want to hear from you guys. So utilize that comment section. And of course, everybody in the live chat knows how to do that. We appreciate you guys. So, but yeah, let's get into the main topic.
Did you see what Ronnie said?
Ronnie says, I went to 3 shops and they said I was on drugs if I thought it was local comic shop day. Made me feel stupid for sure. Wow.
Yeah. Especially since all 3 asked if he was on drugs. So there must be a common trend when you what were you wearing, right?
So it says here, this is from ICV2.
It does say October 27th. See?
No, that's when their open house was to talk about.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
ComicsPRO, this year's local comic shop day, a success. So it says plus replacing Diamond data and announcing annual awards. So it starts off, we worry so you don't have to. ComicsPRO president and Blue Hen Comics owner Joe Murray said during the retailers organization's presentation at their open house on October 27th. He assured members that ComicsPRO has been working to stay ahead of the rapidly changing comics retail business, including new players, structural changes, and everybody's new favorite soap opera, the Diamond bankruptcy. So, obviously, this is them. They had an online thing, and it's interesting. I would love for you guys to check this out, but you guys aren't part of ComicsPRO, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No.
So if it's that important, it should be free. It should be paid for by the industry.
Great point.
But that would require.
If it was working for the comic shops, I wouldn't mind paying. But if you're going to work for the fucking industry, let them pay.
So Emmet, how much does it cost to join ComicsPRO? I'm sorry to sidetrack this, Brian. No. I just need to get a number out there.
300, I think it is.
Okay,
now.
let's just say it's 300. Let's just say it's 300. What's 300 times the 270 members that participate in this organization?
It's that 60 grand, six grand.
$81,000.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you have to get $300 from 270 shops and raise $81,000, and you're telling me you can't go to Marvel and DC and Image and say, we'd like $81,000 so we can have free membership for all 1,200 comic shops.
And make local comic shops thrive. Totally. I agree.
Yeah.
If I was president of ComicsPRO, that would be my fucking platform.
Right. Well, you're looking at 15% of the shops are part of this group. So I don't know if that's a high number.
I think there's Facebook groups, retailer Facebook groups that are bigger than that.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Boyle's group.
Yeah. Most groups are bigger than that, and I don't understand what information can you give to others that you can't get off ICB2, Comics Beat, and Bleeding Cool? Or here?
Right here for free.
Yeah.
Right here for free,
Yep.
Jesse.
Yeah, exactly. With a open discussion and not just here's the info. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
It'd be different. And I'm not trying to, but Emmet and I sat through that day of programming. Emmet sat through more of it because I had to go take smoke breaks.
Yeah.
The first panel presented by ComicsPRO with the blue-haired chick from Batcave Comics was a whole bunch of publisher people telling the retailers assembled that it was our job to promote their comics, and it was our job to find the audience for their books. And that's ComicsPRO's attitude. There was not 1 ounce of pushback from the blue-haired chick.
No.
What's her name? Can we quit calling her the blue-haired chick? Let's find her name. Batcave Comics.
It's Bat City. I think, isn't it Bat City?
Whatever. Bat City, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I want to quit calling her the blue-haired chick. I want to call her name.
I'm still going to call her the blue-haired chick.
Well, come on, man. Call her name. Let's see here.
She's also the vice president of ComicsPRO.
There she is.
There she is. What is her name? Let's see here. You guys can keep talking while I figure it out.
Yeah. So
Emmet, tell me I'm wrong. Emmet, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, my problem is that the problems we have with distributors and never gets heard, right? If we bring it to them direct, it's me. I have a problem with their ordering systems, right? But it's just me. Now, ComicsPRO should be there for, hey, any problems you have with we have a bigger voice directly with the distributors and with the industry. So bring your problems to us. Email this person or that person. We'll have a monthly meeting. We'll bring you in a Zoom call. You can tell us the problems you're having and we can pass. Maybe we'll have a representative from the distributor there because we can't fucking talk to them direct. So.
And guess what? When you go to one of these, I went to 2010. And when the real questions were supposed to be asked of the publishers, retailers like me were told to pipe down. They literally told me to pipe down, Dennis. They're not here to take your complaints. They're here to tell us about what they're going to do for us. That is not why we're there.
So real quick, I want to set the record straight. We apologize, Shannon, for constantly calling you the blue-haired chick. We will now call you Shannon because that is your name. Shannon Live.
Actually, Lord Zero says it's Katie.
No, it's Shannon. Shannon. That's her right there. So Shannon is her name. There we go. No more blue-haired chick.
Yep.
Continue.
They told you to pipe down is where you ended.
Mm-hmm. I told them, I almost died on that trip. I drove 10 hours, paid $300 to be a member. I think it was maybe $250 because they had a deal. Paid for my own hotel. I drove all the way to Memphis, Tennessee, or wherever the hell it was. And I didn't go all that way to have Comixology sit up on the panel and tell everybody how awesome their new pull software was. I didn't sit there to have DC blow smoke up my ass and tell me they were doing something really great this was pre New 52 when their sales were tanking. All of this stuff is what they placate the retailers because they're taking as much as they're taking that 81,000 from the retailers, they're taking even more from the publishers to be able to get up on that stage. That is not the job of the retail liaison. Okay. It's our job to wag the dog. The people who
I'd like to have some more transparency. So ComicsPRO ran the New York City Wednesday event. Yep. Although everybody else was there, they were obviously really running it.
Yeah.
They had multiple panels that day from ComicsPRO. who paid for them to come to the event? Did the industry pay, or did that come out of the 81,000 that their members paid? Then who do they pay for the books directly from the purchases from the people who are like the local comic shop day? I know when I bought mine, I had to buy them through Diamond, and I paid a regular price plus the $50, of course, because I wasn't a member. But like all this stuff should be like right on the top of their website. No fluff. Let's just have, the full disclosure of how these things work, so that I don't have to, if I join, I feel like I'm joining some kind of secret society that's got a whole bunch of bullshit I don't want to deal with.
Well, and I always state this for the record. The first big event that ComicsPRO did, I want to say it was in Pittsburgh, but I can't remember. They brought out Robert Kirkman. And when they had time to take Robert Kirkman out to dinner with the executive board, they came up with the Ghost variant program. Do you remember this?
Yep.
And they did a variant that was only available at 10 stores in the US. And all 10 stores were ComicsPRO board members who went out to dinner with Robert Kirkman. Not anybody else, none of the members, at that time, probably 300 plus members, but just for the board members who invited Kirkman out and put Kirkman on stage. And it was a resounding, what the fuck?
Well, there was a response to that because there was Phantom.
But that was a friend of ours, Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
And it worked great.
Counteract that. Yeah, exactly.
And he would allow any retailer who wanted to participate and abide by the rules were in.
Correct.
Yeah. The also, if you look at the ComicsPRO website, because I just tried to look up her name, they haven't updated the staff. Joe is set as vice president. The old president, Jen, is still listed as the president.
All right. Have a good night. Yep.
So it's funny because
clearly they're not paying for a web designer.
Well, listen, I don't think they have the money. They're not being given the money. They can only get $300 a year from the 270 stores that they're getting it from. But here's okay. Let's get back to this.
Yep. Sorry.
Post.
Sorry, I had to sidetrack.
Local Comic Shop Day was held on September 27th, and over 270 shops participated, according to Director of Operations. This was the first year the new format and 25%. The first year of the new format, and 25% of the participants who responded to the after-event survey said this was their first time. Retailers who responded also reported an average of twice as much revenue as they took in on previous Saturdays. That's interesting. Looking to the future, Deneuve said, we're talking to publishers about variant fatigue with local comic shop day variants. And part of my ask for 2026 is asking publishers to provide more community event materials rather than variant covers. Here is a question about this that I want to ask you guys, and I want to ask retailer LCS owners out there. Should local comic shop day be, right? Should it only be about these variants? Because it feels like that's what it's about these days. It should be about, in my opinion, figuring out ways to get people in the store, not just by the variants, but what that shop can do, right? What sales, people they can have there signing. Like I feel like the variant thing should be such a small part of local comic shop day. Am I wrong there?
Right. No, I think you're right. I think it should really be things for the community who is that already keeps your shop going, and something new to bring people in. But none of us knew what day it was. if they're bringing new people in, what kind of marketing when the people that are in the industry don't know when the fuck it is?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I think when I look at this, any event that you do should be able to be tailored to your store.
Yes.
So just because you do free comic book day doesn't say, oh my gosh, I'm free comic book day. No, this is our free comic book day. We have the basic items for it, but this is how we're going to make it bigger, and this is how we're going to make it better. But it all starts off with it all starts off with team help with social marketing and social promoting. I did not see anything from Lunar or Penguin in any email saying, hey, what are you doing for local comic book day? Hey, we see you're not signed up for local comic book day. Right? So I think when I look, and I'm a numbers guy, when I sit there and I say 20% of the industry participated in this, why didn't 80% not participate in it? And now that 100% of that 80%, how many actually knew it was actually going on the last quarter of the year?
Well, and I'll just address that. Twice as much business as a previous Saturday. Emmet, Jesse, how strong is the last Saturday in September traditionally sales wise?
Way better than the first 3 when kids go back to school. It just starts to recover. Everybody goes back to school, spent money on school clothing and books and all that shit. And then by the end of September, you're coming out of that. And that's when you get.
So if you picked a day to put for local comic shop day on in September, you would pick the last Saturday because it would look more healthy than the rest of a very slow month.
Yeah.
And that's retail 101, Jesse. I mean, that's the home stretch. You are still in the red in September. Most corporate businesses, most regular businesses.
Right.
You know, you've got 2 months till Black Friday, and then holiday gravy is after that.
Right. And if you look at an event like this, what is your cost? So if you only doubled your sales, does that even cover a double?
You had to pay to double that.
Right. Exactly.
How much did you pay?
That's breaking even with a double day.
It is.
I think at the end of the day, it barely is. But at the end of the day, I think what happens when we look at an event like this, we want to say, how do we get everybody to participate? And if you have to participate and be a ComicsPRO member to participate, and it's $300 before you get your product, right? $300 times what? 300 Keystone. So you got to do almost $900 to get your $300 back.
Right. And I'll add one more thing to that. If you have to spend, once again, and I'll go back to the business model that I would have loved to have tried for free comic book day. If you've got all these people shilling you to shill to the retailers, you have the money to send free books to every store. You know what I'm saying? You have the resources to have the guy from New Zealand who has a POS system that they hawk for it. The insurance company that they hawk for. The services. You got Prana Marketing. What are you marketing? You're marketing through ComicsPRO. Why don't you raise some money from your angel investors to provide free comics for those local comic shop days? And you would think there'd be some marketing involved with those comics.
Shout out to Queen's Comic Party, who is a big part of this community, and also puts on and works at a ton of shows. And he says he's a maintenance guy for 4 stores, and he says local comic shops day needs better advertising. I found out last minute, and I'm the maintenance guy for 4 stores, so he didn't even know.
Right.
I think that's to me. I think that's the biggest part, is that one, nobody even knows that day is happening, right?
Well,
except for ComicsPRO, who's putting on the event.
What was their #1 book they were selling?
I have no idea.
Absolute Batman #1.
I have
a reprint of Absolute Batman #1. right?
Which is
where's
already
Scott
on its
Snyder's?
15th.
Right, but where's Scott Snyder's local store?
Long Island, Fourth
You.
World.
Oh, I thought it was you.
No, he's local.
But was
to,
Scott Snyder signing at that place for local comic shop day?
Well, they gave Scott Snyder their industry award this year because of Absolute, so he was probably there. But I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, again, I think when you take a community and you say only 20% of the stores are participating, the 800 stores aren't participating, how do you get that to 50%? That's a hard ask.
I don't know, 500 retailers at a New York Comic-Con event that, you had Jim Lee speaking at and Todd McFarlane speaking at. That might be a way to get the word out a little bit.
Well, there was some interest from some people I knew because you get a 10% off BCW. And some of them do big enough orders where one order would
You can get
pay
10%
for
on
the
BCW
membership.
for using a promo code that every single content creator has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If
You want 10% off? You use Popcorn
Lens card,
99. There's your 10% off.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting is I would be very
I'm not allowed to
interested.
buy from them, so.
Oh, that's right.
I think
I
that.
would be,
Go ahead, Jason.
I would be very interested in knowing how many new accounts were involved in that 270.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's say it was 20. Let's say it was 15.
Isn't that what they said? They said 25% were first time.
No, only
Oh.
25% of the people who did the survey said that this was their first time participating.
But Emmet, that line to sign up for ComicsPRO at New York Comic-Con lasted for hours to get those free variants while the programming was going on.
Yeah. Nobody was there, though.
Yeah.
They left it open the whole time.
I wish ComicsPRO would give us their analytics, right? Which is, I would love to know how many stores.
Transparency.
Yeah, total transparency, which is important. Listen, I don't want anybody to think that we're at least I'm not necessarily calling out ComicsPRO. I know some people have problems with ComicsPRO. I am not. We're not here to necessarily damage ComicsPRO. I think ComicsPRO can be an amazing thing. I think that this type of thing is important for the industry. It's just got to be done a certain way, and being charged $300 a year for really, I don't think you're getting much. But here's the thing: on saying this, I'm going to do a little bit more research and see how important, what else, why this is important. And also, if you're a retailer or a LCS that thinks ComicsPRO is important and in its current form, let us know below. We want to know. But the most important thing for me is give us your analytics, okay? Be transparent about it. As a matter of fact, shout out to, I think the EXP. Here we go. The EXP did a show recently on their industry show saying data will save comics, and they are 100% right. I don't think it'll necessarily save comics, but it will help save comics so we can see what's going on. We have no data in comics. We don't know how many people, out of how many stores there are out there. We don't know how many people are what comics are selling in those stores. We don't know any of this. All we know, especially when it comes to comic sales, is orders. We can tell you how many orders there were, but how many of those orders are either still sitting on shelves or have been sent back? So I think that they're partially correct. Data will help save comics. We need that data. Well, ComicsPRO, we need your data too. Right? We need to know that.
Well, and especially from them, because that's all they strive upon. Book scan, we processed this, we did that. Remember Emmet and Bryan, when we sat in on that San Diego, they were bragging about how they collate all the data for us. And Bryan, I think you have that that other article that came out on ICV2 about the best-selling books and blah, blah, blah.
Well, the only thing that I can get to is because I don't have the pro account is
Right.
the
No,
the
it was one of the
headline.
other
Talking
ones
about more fees.
where they
Yeah.
talked about the
Talking
horror
about more
comics.
fees.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
this is interesting. Yeah, this is from, where is it? Right here. Talking about this is another from the ComicsPRO open house, that book scan data shows stable graphic novel market in the book channel. I guess I want to see that data. You can supposedly see it in the ICV2 white paper. I guess I don't know, but they talk about in this about graphic novels and how manga is obviously continuing to be the winner in this. That superhero stuff has taken a jump because of the what are they called, Emmett? The DC
Compact.
the
DC
compact,
compact
yeah, DC compact, and
trades.
Marvel's doing the same thing. So I get that, but I don't know. I feel like when we talk to
Well, and
Well,
it's pay attention to the left hand while we're talking about the right hand. They're talking about sales are increased, and then they mentioned Dog Man and those YA novels. Those are not staples in comic book stores.
right,
No.
exactly.
That's
This
book
is
market.
this is a misdirection
Yeah.
type article, because it would be like the NFL saying, "Oh my gosh, our jerseys are selling so good." Yeah, we're not going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguar jerseys. We're just going to talk about the NFL as a whole. So when I see a report like this, I need it broken down to
Yes.
LCSs. Not
Well, and then
as
they
a
talk about
whole.
horror. They talk about horror comics increasing, horror graphic novels, and then they mention two mangas and the hottest book of the year,
beneath the trees
Trees.
is, yeah.
Where No
Yeah.
One Sees, or
Nobody
whatever
sees,
that book is called.
Well, I can tell you that like nobody's calling me for my data, and I've sold more compact trades in this since they've come out than I've sold trade paperbacks since I've been open.
Right.
I've sold
Yeah.
almost 100 compact trades, and
Right.
that's insane for me to think.
Well, I
Right,
got to
is
tell
that-
you, man, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely going to go watch it ASAP. You know, of that the EXP show talking about, you know, will data save the comic industry, because that is such an important thing. And my hat's off to them for asking the question, because we need more data. We have no clue about what they're saying to us is being true or not. We just
Right.
don't
Well,
know.
let's backtrack on that, because technically what you have is you have your data, and your data is the most important data that you own and have. However, you're supposed to compare it with universal data to say, where can I make my company better? This is where I'm striving. Oh, wow, look, I'm even with the industry, or I'm below the industry. So even though I'm thinking I'm doing good, the industry's up another 25 points. So where am I messing
What am I
up?
not? Yeah, what am I not
Right.
doing? in the
But
data?
also, let me break this down to you. 270 stores are members of ComicsPRO, right? Did they send out that survey to non-ComicsPRO members? I would doubt it, because the three of us did not get one. On top of that, 25% of the respondents, which they never told you the number of respondents, 25% are new. Okay, so whatever that number is, and let's just pretend it's 50%. 50% answered it. 135 stores, 25% of which are new stores. That's 27 new stores. Okay, out of the 135 respondents, how many of those respondents are anime stores, or a comic store with anime, or that have a YA section that's selling that many Dogmans? I don't think those bookstore numbers are from those respondents. That's from the book scan numbers, not from the respondents of 135 stores that responded to this, 25% of which are new.
Yeah.
And that's the real data we really need to find out, because we can extrapolate that data.
I would love for ComicsPRO to put their industry, you know, conferences that they do. That should be on YouTube. Like, it doesn't have to be live, but, you know, a day after the event, 2 days after the event, release that for everybody to see. Not just the people that are part of ComicsPRO. Everybody should be able to see it.
Right.
It
Yeah,
should be
the best-
recorded. That whole San Diego thing should have been recorded.
Yeah. The best way to retain members is to constantly beat them down with information, beat them down with social awareness and conversations. To retain new people, you need to do the same thing. But guess what? To get new people, you need to do double that. You need to make people feel that they are missing something by not being part of that group.
Survey 270 ComicsPRO stores and survey 270 non-ComicsPRO stores, and then compare that data so you can show the 270 non-ComicsPRO stores that ComicsPRO stores did better because they're following a track that we're creating, and then tell them what that track is, et cetera, et cetera. But they don't do that.
So the sad thing is what you'll hear, what you're pretty much a lot what I've heard in the past whenever there's been any complaints about ComicsPRO. Well, we're still trying to run our own stores. But like, this is the trade. Like when you put your name in a hat to do something, that's what you mean to do, right? Like you don't have any excuse after that. You either have to find somebody to run your store for you while you're doing ComicsPRO stuff, or don't put yourself forward. You know, it's a commitment.
Yes.
Like I couldn't do it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let them off the hook for doing it poorly.
Right.
Yeah. So this was on their Facebook page, which is interesting, about their open house thing. And it says open house. If you are a comics industry professional and would like to attend the ComicsPRO open house, please register here. Schedule is here, free of charge to all comic industry professionals. What does that mean? Does that mean any retailer can go to it?
No.
The open house is.
Well, that's what we're talking about right now, the open house, because this open house was where they talked about all this stuff. Where is it?
I think industry professionals are artists and writers.
Oh.
Yeah. ComicsPRO, this year's local comic shop day. So they talked about this at the open house event on October 27th, which is maybe I'll be able to, let's see here. Is there a way to find it? You can register here. Yeah, this is only to register. Yeah, so I don't even know.
On? Wait, what? Where is this on?
This is the Facebook page.
Where's the location?
This is on ComicsPRO's Facebook. So if I'm not a member of ComicsPRO, how will I ever see this post?
I think the Facebook page is open to the public.
Facebook page is open to the public.
That, but if I don't even know what ComicsPRO is, how do I see this post?
You can go search for it.
Are you only putting this on your Facebook page?
That's what we're saying. So they have an Instagram page also, but what the comments are is even with this stuff, people had for the most part, most comic collectors and even comic industry people had no idea about local comic shop day this year.
Yeah.
No, that was the gist I got. I mean, there was one person in the chat. Sakata said, they couldn't find it. Another guy said the store was busy. I don't know what that is. I don't know where was this event though?
It was online.
Was it just all online?
Yeah, it was online.
No, it's just an online
open house. Yeah.
No, they haven't. The open house I think was online. They do have in February. They have their big meeting. I think it's February. I want to say is that where they have
it's the 4 days.
Yeah, they had it out in Swaggle House went to it.
Yeah. Again,
can we pull up Swaggle House's coverage of it?
We're not franchise owners of McDonald's, where we go to these events and we hang out for 4 days and we let the kiddies run the store and we do XYZ. No, this is a business that requires a lot of hands-on. My point about that post is that post needs to be on ICV2, Comics Beat, our show, EXP, Bleeding Cool. That's where they need to be promoting this. It's like the person that self-promotes a hashtag on their own page about their own store. What the hell does that mean? Hashtag Jesse James Comics on my own page?
I don't see anything about ComicsPRO this year.
Yeah, he went back to. It was back in February.
Oh no,
He
it's
went
back
to
in
it.
February. He went
A year
went to the
ago?
show.
So a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
The current
it's
state of
2025.
comic
2025.
publishing.
Yeah.
I
February
don't see anything.
2025.
Remember, he
Yeah.
shot it out on He shot it out on the patio of the hotel.
Oh
he
yeah, yeah,
felt
yeah.
very-
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind
was a
of
good
felt
show.
intimidated that,
There it is.
Right there.
There it is.
Marvel DC reveal plan.
Yeah. So we
Yeah,
watched
so-
this. Yeah, we watched this.
Yeah, we did.
We watched
we-
it, but I'm saying go to that because even he was not impressed with the turnout, the event, any of it.
I yes, he was kinder than that direct
Right.
slap down, but
Yeah, I think the gist of what we're talking about is ComicsPRO. Why don't you open up your hands, be a little bit more welcoming to the comic book community, and
I think they need a larger group too. They need more hands.
I
It's
don't
one
think
time-
it's a larger group, Emmett. I think they need a group that isn't the old guard. I think they need fresh stores, stores that have progressive ways to do things.
Dude, I think that
and-
those hustlers are too busy. I mean, I agree with
Exactly.
you. I want their attitude. That's why I want to say, like, some of these younger guys, if they made more positions, could come in and give like ideas and things like that, where they don't have time. They're on the fucking major hustle, right? But they could bring that youthful.
Yeah,
Like-
I almost think ComicsPRO is the guardrail to make sure that we stay old school comic book stores, right? My ideas won't fly with ComicsPRO. I know Dennis's won't. Emmett, I haven't been to your store enough to know how much that kind of goes with the flow, or do you go on your own realm of how I do my business? You're a store owner that has a great YouTube channel,
Yeah.
right? Not a lot of comic book store owners have their own YouTube channel that have lasted this long.
You know what, Brian? Can you just go over to YouTube and just type in ComicsPRO and see what comes up? Because you would think they would have their own YouTube channel and broadcast that open house, all that content that they were bragging about.
They do have a channel, right? Yeah.
No, that's Perch.
What is ComicsPRO and should you be there? That was 8 months ago. ComicsPRO wrap up. Chip Zdarsky, can this man save the comic industry? Should you attend ComicsPRO to sell more comics? ComicsPRO, ignore real reason comics are dying off. This is the vast
Majority.
the vast
And they
majority
think
of
I'm
people.
negative.
Yeah, there you go. There's Emmet.
Yeah.
I think the vast majority of this of people that I talk to don't look at ComicsPRO as either they don't know about it or they just think of it as a place to go get variants.
They're toothless, spineless shills.
I don't know about that, but
Well, I would say that they don't appear as something that will get you to the next stage. I think they get you to the stage, but they don't get you above that stage. And I think that's kind of the groups that we need. That's why, if you look at all their events, that 4-day event, local comic book day, open house. Okay, what is that? 10 days
look at this.
of
This
information?
is maybe this is their YouTube channel, comicspro.org. If I go to find out more information, it gives ComicsPRO's website, and it's called
But look at the
Retailer
date of the
Tools.
content.
But it's 2012 and 2013,
All
2011. So I don't think that does ComicsPRO.
I think that's when they had a different president.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're just I think what we're doing is we're just saying
Here we go. What?
Okay.
You-
10
10
subscribers, 2 videos.
2007?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Why don't you be?
I hate being right. I really
Yeah.
do.
I
Emmet,
think
have you done a video about how to save the comic book store?
Yeah.
I've made several of them. Brian, have you done 86 episodes of how to help the comic book industry?
I'm being contacted from people around the world that have been watching my videos on how to open a comic shop.
Yeah.
England, Japan,
Mhm.
Africa. Multiple men from Africa have been contacting me. They said comics are on fire in Africa, but they just can't get a hold of them.
any princes that have got a hold of you.
Hold on.
No,
I got
no
that email
princes.
too. I am not sending pallets of comics to that Nigerian prince.
Yeah, it's crazy. They say they're doing really good, but they can't get enough comics. That's how fast they sell as soon as they
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah, I think what we have to look at is what the question is about doing events. You have to do events that fit your culture and fit your comic book base that actually comes to your store. Today, a young kid came in, he brought in his report card. He had 7 A's, which means he gets 14 free books in the account. And he was so excited because I said, how many did you get? 7. All right, what's that times 2? 14. And then he was so excited he only got 5 books, right? Because he was so excited that he was being rewarded for his good grades.
That's
So
cool,
that's the
man. That's
culture-
super cool.
yeah.
That's a cool thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
the culture that you're trying to build. You're trying to build it not with what goes well in California, what goes well in your store first. And then if you join,
And I
a
might
group-
add also, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jesse.
I was just going to say, if you join a group, you should be able to bring more to that group than that group can bring to you.
Brian, I've said this for 86 episodes. I've said this in your chat for 2 years before that. There are too many fucking middlemen in this fucking industry, and all they want to do is line their pockets and establish themselves at the top of the heap. Okay. To me, that's exactly what these guys are. Everybody they invited was to get something out of them. Everybody that they do business with gives them something in exchange. This is just one more example of middlemen trying to get rich off the little guy's back and doing nothing for them.
Yeah.
The 4 people on this panel have done more to save the comic industry than any initiative CPRO has ever done.
I think plenty of us have sacrificed for this industry more than not just giving to this industry. The sacrifices that we have done over the last 20 years by putting our name, putting our brand in front of things that people weren't willing to even think of,
Right.
not carrying new issues, live streaming, buy onlines, social networking, Facebooking, Instagram, all this stuff that was done originally by a group of people, men and women, who said, I'm going to do it differently, not because I'm trying to be different from the industry. I'm trying to make the industry better. That's how I look at what we're supposed to do, and let those effects happen freely, right? And not having to say, I'll tell you how to do a live stream show for just $300.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
By the way, if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up. And, you know, that's all we ask.
Yep. It's free.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost a penny.
And not everything will work for every store.
No. But
Right.
I know there are people in this chat because they message me on IG. They message me on Facebook. I know there are people in this chat who have learned something from us and have put that to good use and have helped save their stores or their, not store yet businesses. That's all that matters. That's the only reason I do this.
Right. I think one of the things, and CCC, we have a punch card free comic program here in partnership with the local library. The whole notion is free comic book is one day, but you can give a free comic out any day you want.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to say free comic book day on it.
Right.
We do a summer read with the library.
Right.
But here's the thing. like back in the aughts, right? 2000 to 2010 or so, Free Comic Book Day and these events that would go on at these stores put on by the industry. I consider Free Comic Book Day, local comic shop day, local record store day. Those are events put on by those industries to try and get more people into the stores, right? And those events were special. They were magic. I remember being at multiple stores would do this, but I remember being specifically at Jesse's store for Free Comic Book Day 5-6 years in a row. Midnight, day before Free Comic Book Day, there would be a line of 300 people standing outside of Jesse's store waiting.
Hold on, Brian. Jesse, how did this industry reward you for that?
They beat me down for doing it, but I didn't care because it was about my customers and taking care of my community.
And it was such a big thing. Like these events were big deals. I remember there would be like, obviously they would have big sales on those days, which would bring a lot of people into the stores. People would go in and, hey, I'm going to the comic book store today for a great sale, but I'm going to bring my kids because there's a bunch of free kids comics that I can give them and they can choose them.
Right.
Or like that was a reason to not only go to the comic book store, but to bring new people to the comic book store, which is the whole point of it. And sometimes you would get people that'd be like, hey, this is my first time in. I'm doing it because I heard about it. That doesn't happen anymore. The last time I saw an event where people were standing outside of a comic book store was for a Mark Spears signing, right? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't for an industry event or a Free Comic Book Day or a local comic shop day thing. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I think for the most part, it doesn't happen like it used to. It used to be this big deal. And now we're saying, wait, that happened in September? You know, that's a problem.
And guess what? Guess what? What happened? That was in September. What happened in October? Two of the biggest drops in the last year of comic books, Scott Snyder's KO and Mark Spears' Monster and the Wolf. Did they asked KeenSpot to make a 0 issue of Monster and the Wolf for local comic shop day? Did they ask Scott Snyder, who they gave the award to do a KO preview book or ash can? Those are two things that would have helped move the needle for all the stores that were carrying those two big drops in October. Nothing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that would have helped them is them having a video of him getting that award. And him coming on and saying, hey, I want to thank ComicsPRO for this great achievement. And I hope all the Comic Book Pro members get with me with everything they need, whatever that is. But the notion is participation. Brian said something very important in that the industry. Well, we're not talking about the industry. We're talking about ComicsPRO. ComicsPRO hasn't designed itself as the industry. It's created itself as its own entity. And it's going to have to find out to be how do you be part of the 1,250 stores as an industry as a whole is very important. You guys say, well, XYZ went to that meeting. What about the others that couldn't make the meeting? Right?
Yep.
How do we make that important for them?
And here's the thing. I recorded the entire Jim Lee speech. I recorded the entire Todd McFarlane speech. I didn't record 1 second of any of the ComicsPRO content that was put on that stage because it was not relevant to saving the industry, period.
Yeah, I mean, so you all don't have to go and watch my video. It's pretty simple. I went to a New York Comic Con, sat down with ComicsPRO people. They told me that children's comics were dead. We were handing it over to manga, and that we had to find a way to bring them back when they got older. And I said, that's a defeatist attitude, and I won't be, but I won't be going along with that.
Was that this year? Was that this year?
No, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And then when they had their event, I wanted to join and try to raise, a flag for the people who think that they need to bring back kids comics to get kids involved in comics again. And I was not allowed, I could not join. for whatever reason, because it has to be viewed by somebody there or whatever. And then the new president came in shortly afterwards, after the event, and I wasn't able to go to it. He said I could come
That's
for
the guy
free.
that tried to start a fight with me at San Diego 2 years ago, by the way.
Oh, Joe Murray.
No, the other guy.
Joe Murray's the new is it Murray?
Right.
I think it's Murray.
The old one.
John, Dan,
I don't know.
Greg, Brian.
But anyway, he said that yeah, they weren't gatekeeping, that I would be allowed to come. Now that it was in California and not in Pittsburgh, which is only 8 hours away from me, that I could come, you know, and didn't have to be a member and just try out and see what it was all about, and that they weren't keeping me out. So I wasn't able to go to that, but that was my problem. And I didn't hear anything different, that they were now looking to get kids back into comic books. Because listen, humans are animals. I mean, I have this philosophy that, yeah, we've done great things that animals can't do because we got opposable thumbs, but we're easily trained. I was in the military. I was trained to do things I couldn't do before. If you give kids a manga-sized book and say, this is your comic, this is your comic, when they go to look at regular comics, they're like, this is not a comic. I've been reading comics. So I don't believe in training kids to read something that's not comics, so they'll come to comics later. Give them comics.
Right. Well, okay. So let me dissect what you just said. And I'm then do the business 101 here on this. Here's the problem we have with that statement from ComicsPRO. What they're saying is, kids' books are being replaced by XYZ and they're being sold and the sales are down. No, what you're talking about is new issue books for in that conversation. Do you know the number one selling kids book right now, which we cannot keep in stock? Jetsons. Jetsons is on fire. You have Jetsons from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Who the heck is talking about 2025? We label new issues versus back issues. No, we sell comics.
Have you ever watched that breakdown of how old George Jetson is, how old Jane is, and how old Judy is? And you do the math on it, and it's pretty icky.
I don't know what you mean.
They break down the age of all the characters, and it's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Thank you for that.
That's where the market's coming from. It's all over Instagram, Jesse.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Hey, Louis, I have a question for you. When you say the comic book store have people lining up for midnight events, how many events do they have at midnight? Just a regular question. How many events do they have at midnight? And why are they having events just at midnight? I understand the Mark Spears event because that's a national thing, but are you saying they have just like single events that are midnight? Just a question.
But Hood, that's what we're talking about. That midnight release was for the Mark Spears thing. It wasn't for local comic shop day or for free comic book day. It wasn't for anything that the industry did. It's for what
exactly.
Yeah. So
So if you tailor something at your store and you say, "Oh my gosh, I have the Pokemon Blue Pack Silver Foil release at midnight," I mean, of course, that's tailored to you. But we're talking about national events. How many events are you going to have at midnight? I remember back in the day, Walking Dead 100, My Little Pony #1. Obviously free comic book day.
I did a shared retailer variant for My Little Pony #1 with all the Detroit area stores.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So if you look and you think, do we just have to open up at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock and put on a good event? In the Mark Spears event, because it's so much and it's universal, I get it. But other than that, unless it's tailored to your store, we should be having events every day. Every day is a convention at a comic book store. And that's what your customers should be enjoying, giving great comic book therapy for them to come in and have fun. So back to my question with ComicsPRO, who might only be actually technically working 10 days a year, how is those other 350 days going to be important as a ComicsPRO member? What am I learning to help me through those 350 days? All right.
So pretty interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know. So good stuff.
By the way, the guy that tried to start the fight was Marco. That was the guy's name.
He is still,
He's the
he's
executive
listed as the
director.
executive director, which is weird because like he's not a president, not a vice president. He's an executive director. I don't know if he owns a comic store or if he's like a
Which means
consultant
he's
from
the one
industry.
pulling the strings.
It could be. I don't understand. That's the other thing is I don't understand how the organization's built, works. There should be a flow chart to show who's in charge. You know, that's kind of the transparency stuff.
Well, here's some of the things that was interesting about, because they put out, ComicsPRO put out their, I don't know if it's ComicsPRO, but it's ICV2 put out their white paper talks. And I think you guys saw that at New York Comic Con. Did you guys see that in New York Comic Con? Where they talked about
it. Actually,
about
ICV2 was on Thursday.
Right.
Around
it was not part of the Wednesday.
4 o'clock. It wasn't a part of the Wednesday.
Comics and graphic novel business in the U.S. in 2024 estimated at $1.94 billion. It was one of their things they said. 2024 sales of comics and graphic novels were about 73% above 2019 levels. That's interesting. In 2024, the book channel, bookstores plus online, was down 1.4% in dollars, while the comic stores channel, which is the direct market, was up 13.3% in dollars for the same period. So obviously, we've talked about that before. The direct market is where everybody is going. Live sales, shipped straight to you.
Right.
So that's interesting.
There is also a huge move to small business again. Even if you're using an online app as a small business, like eBay, sad to say, whatnot, or anything like that, people are moving to buy from mom and pops rather than, big bookstores. Because if you've been inside of a small bookstore, they usually do not have graphic novels.
In 2024, the single issue comic format was up 12%, while graphic novel format was only up 1%. Graphic novels still represent over 76% of the market, according to them, by dollars, though they were down, or they were only about 70% in 2019. Through August of 2025, the direct market comic stores sales were up 27% compared to the same period in the prior year. Within that 2025 growth in comic stores, growth in the spring is about 29% versus summer 25%. Back issue special collector market is shifting. Sales of expensive slabbed issues are down while inexpensive reader copies are up, which we've been talking about. More people are buying raw books than they are slab books. Digital comic adjacent formats. For example, in Japan, digital manga is 73% of the manga business. Also, the vertical scrolling web format for comics and webtoons and audio formats are rising. So that's some of the information. Comic stores are showing strong growth. That's obvious. That's something that's interesting. But there's less comic stores.
Right. I'll tell you why. Do you want to go first, Dennis? Go ahead. Go first. Or Emmet, you go.
It's more of that left hand, right hand.
I think you'll see at the end of the year there'll be a growth in comic shops. Right. There'll be more comic shops by the end of 2025 than there was by the end of 2024. That will have a positive growth for the first time in a long time.
Right. So here's the problem with that report. When a comic book store buyer or seller registers, they register with a business ID, right? The rules have changed. 10 years ago, you had to have a lease. You had to have a sign. You had to have a picture of your front door. Guess where the growth is coming from? Live streamers. Live streamers have increased so much. It is crazy. That number is actually not even correct. The number of growth is actually larger for people selling comics. They're just using it as a whole for local comic book stores. that number is blended with live streamers as well. That's why you see the growth. Now, is Emmet correct in saying we will have more brick and mortars? Well, having 50 more brick and mortars is almost a 15% increase in local comic book stores. So I need to see a 60% increase to say that's a big increase, because our numbers are too small. And the final point is, we can't say we have growth when 5 years ago, or 2016, we had 5,000 stores. So we have receded
also,
so
guys,
far. Go ahead. What does that say?
That is Comic Shop Locator.
Okay.
Does not exist anymore because it was a product of Diamond Comics and $6 a month from retail.
Brian Rickard dropped a $1.99 super chat. He asked, "Are the retail dollars adjusted for inflation?" According to them, it does not say. There's no caveats for their numbers about that growth. So that's a great question for ICV2 and their white paper.
Right.
So
I would guess it's just a pure percentage higher, not money, like not adjusted for inflation.
So
it would make that more flat.
Brent says, "My question is, what can publishers do to help comic shops get the next generation into shops, and what can local comic shops do to get the younger generation in to create lifelong fans?" Those two questions are the two main questions, right? That's like to answer those questions. That's like, what's the meaning of life, right?
Well, marketing is one, because they don't have marketing teams anymore. And if they're paying somebody for marketing, they're giving their money away because it's shit.
Right.
Well, they told you, Emmet, it's your job to market their comics for them.
It's true. And I do, even though it pisses me off that they're not helping out. But I do, because I love the format so much, right? It's been, a love of mine, a passion of mine since I was 7 or 8 years old. So I don't want to see it go away. So I try to keep it going, but that doesn't mean it's a viable business.
Scott says, in a recession and prolonged recession, will old key comics go/sell for 50% off price asking for right now? I don't know what that means.
In a recession and prolonged recession, will old comics go for sale for 50% off asking for right now? So as of this day, our comics going 50% off for the recession. I don't have a recession in my area.
No, we're not in a recession yet.
Yeah, so that would be a question for if we had one in the future.
I mean, we had a recession, even though they rewrote it for 3 years in 2021 through 2024, and that was some of the best growth in back issues.
Okay,
we did.
I know. Let me answer.
It's not a real recession. It didn't.
Yeah,
it didn't meet the
COVID
numerical.
does, right?
All right.
Yes, so, COVID caused a recession.
So
just not in our segment.
Right.
Go ahead, Jeff.
You done? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure those two were done on that session there. So what can publishers do? It's not what publishers can do for you. Publishers are already doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to publish stuff. Our job is to get to know those publishers, to get in their face, to talk to them constantly so that they are in your phone. So that when you can call them and you have a question, you can call them and have them answer your question directed, not wait for that question to pop up on ICV2 one day. Our job is to create relationships and be that bridge between the publisher and the consumer. So it's not really what the publisher can do. It's what we can do to make that publisher comfortable in our store. We have publishers, listen, all three of us have publishers that we don't like that owner of that company. And guess what? We'll order it if someone orders it. And that's as far as it's going.
Yep.
Right? But those guys that we have, a lot of guys and gals that own publishing houses that we love, we'll over order.
Even if it's not selling.
Yeah. I ordered Gasolina I ordered like 500 copies of Gasolina. Right,
I only ordered 100, but I'm with you on
at
that.
an event. Why? Because we like the guy doing the speech.
Yeah, what was the guy's name? It was Kirkman's. It was Kirkman's
I
marketing guy.
Very
who
young
wrote
guy,
Gasolina.
very good guy, and
Great guy. And you know what? Thanks for the free breakfast. Thanks for the variants. All you want me to do is order Gasolina. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Done.
Exactly. So I think publishers are, our job is to create relationships beyond being just a comic book store that sells their product. And if you can get past that, I think you're doing very, very well.
As far as the recession and books going down, key books are a business, right?
Yeah.
So it's supply and demand.
Yep.
If I only have one issue.
Brian, is that a good segue?
2.
Go ahead. If you only have one issue.
Is he frozen? I think
No.
he's frozen.
No, I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good segue into my collection that I just bought of tons of keys.
Yeah.
Well,
Emmet, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I was just going to say, it's just, supply and demand. If every store that's within 30 miles of you has one, it's sort of like Spider-Man 300. Everybody's like, oh, this book is worth so much money. You go to a convention, it's on every motherfucking stand. Everybody has one.
But just today in our chat, Jesse was like, do any of you guys have a 9/8 New Mutants 98? And none of us had one. Yep. Why? Because they sell.
I don't. Yeah. Plus, I don't grade books. But yeah.
Right. And I have 3 stores around me that don't sell back issues. They're only new issue stores and just pops. So again, if we start to break down how comic books sell, we also have to say, what does that comic book store actually sell?
Yeah.
Not every store. I can tell you how many store people walk in and say, yeah, they wouldn't even look at my collection because they don't sell back issues.
Yeah. And as far as things going down, I think graded books will take the biggest hit. And then raw books will probably maintain where they're at because they're 10x below. Like the big books, when you get a high grade, they're 10x. So non-graded books will probably not move. Graded books will take a huge dip.
Well, I think the interesting thing is back to the point that we're talking about new books, right? They're talking about new books.
Right.
No, he was talking about key issues.
No, I'm talking about what ICV2 and ComicsPRO is talking about. They're talking about new books coming out. Back issues.
But here's the thing:
back issues are constantly selling.
But Brian, Emmet, you watched all 5 of those Eisner Award-winning nominated stores, right?
Yep.
How many of them gave 2 shits about back issues? One.
Yeah. Was the one that had won many years ago, and they
Akira
locations. Akira. No, Akira over in Spain. Man, that place didn't look like it had any.
All new. Okay.
All new.
Yeah.
They may have had used book, but it was
one that
pristine.
It was the one. It might have been Bat City for all I know. It was the one they had tons of long boxes, and they were constantly inputting.
That's the guys. I can't remember the name of the shop, but they had won like 15 years ago.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And he got to cycle back around to try a new one because he opened a new store.
Yeah.
Right.
That is Flying Colors.
Yeah. Joe Fields.
Yep.
Joe Fields.
Yeah.
The creator of Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah. There you go. So New York Comic Con, you guys are walking around. How many people were slinging? These are the new issues that came out this week at their table.
The publishers. That's it.
Well, no. My good friend Lauren Becker, who was set up there, he always brings new books and staggers them across with the hot back issues of the last couple of months.
How many
kind of the popular normie stuff.
How many tables do you think there was in the main hall?
Of
200?
new books?
No. How many tables?
Easy.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah.
Maybe
400. Yeah. So 400 divided by one table is.
Yeah, but that's not the place to sell new books. I mean, there's.
Thank you. That's my point. My point is, my point is, what are they selling? They're selling back issues or they're selling exclusives, right? So when we look at reports and they say, well, back issues, well, not according to New York Comic Con, not according to San Diego Comic Con, Baltimore Comic Con, Houston Comic Con, Tucson Comic Con. So we're looking at numbers that are skewed to show better performance so they can sell more.
But Jesse, it's difficult with a 8-foot table costing you roughly $1,500 at the margins of selling new books at even close to cover price, of being able to make your money back on that table.
But why would you do that? That's my whole point. Why would you show
No.
new issues at a Comic Con where most people have comic book stores?
Why would you sell them at a comic book store at 3,000 square feet? Forget.
Yeah, exactly.
For
so
$3,000 a month.
Yeah, my point is, if someone wants to say that new issues outsell back issues, they're nutty. That's nutty thinking. Crazy.
Everybody knows the only reason I carry new comics is because they create traffic in a small market, right?
Well,
It's a business tactic.
This is speaking of Segu. This is a Segu for this. I'm not able to read it, but I would love to read it. It's ComicsPRO put out a thing saying, or ICV2 put out a thing saying that comic stores are reporting that new readers, not collectors, are driving sales surges.
Oh, Brian, why can't you read it?
What are you talking about?
Why can't you read that story,
Brian? Because I don't pay for it.
Yeah.
So to read the story on ICV2, you have to have ICV2 Pro.
Yeah.
And that's a paywall for info that came out of a company you're paying $300 to be a member of. And
no, different. That's not ComicsPRO. ICV2 is
no. Look what that story says. Comics Report. Well, who did the Comics Report? That came from the report that they sent out to the retailers. I guarantee you, this is a ComicsPRO report that they're reporting.
Somebody in the chat has to have ability to see this.
God, why would they? I feel sorry for them if they do.
I used to get a free magazine. This used to get mailed to me every month.
Yeah.
But again, this is what I'm going back to. We should be able to see this data. This data should be out there for everybody to see. Again, going back to what the EXP did their show on today, which I think is a great topic. Data can help save this industry, because if we have the data, if it's out there freely, comic shops and retailers can change their plans or how they're doing things.
Guess what? If this was a great report, we would be talking about it right now on one of the most watched industry shows for the comic industry.
Yeah, I don't even know how you distinguish a new reader versus a person who collects comics.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you distinguish?
All readers are collectors after a month.
Right, exactly. yeah, exactly. Once they get issue 2, they're officially a comic book collector.
Unless they're bringing the other ones back in to trade in, which I've never had happen.
No. You know what? I did have a guy long time ago. He would bring in his comics about every 2 or 3 months and sell me his back issues of new books for store credit to buy the new ones.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, but
no,
it doesn't happen regularly.
No. So again, there's we could write an article right now about back issue sales, new readers, new collectors.
Jesse, they didn't give you ICV2 Pro for giving them that Mark Spears interview?
Yeah, I know. That I should have got that. We got collectors from Africa now coming into play that we got to add into those numbers. But at the end of the day, listen, the comic book industry has always been strong. We're in an industry that you can't measure daily.
And one word we have not said this entire episode, but I'll say it now, because good retailers know how and when to pivot.
Yep. Absolutely.
And when you listen to ComicsPRO, Emmet, I know you're kind of a virgin with this, but Jesse, you've listened to these people, for decades. Do any of them ever pivot?
I don't think they can pivot. I think there is a limitation when you run a group that is kind of that secret, well, it's not really secret society, but a society that is trying to build business. I don't think you can pivot that
Not
much.
easily.
Yeah, because you're going to have to kind of say, well, if I do that, then I lose this half.
And you also then have to build a consensus.
Right.
Oh, I'm thinking all comic shops should do this because I'm going to do it. So I want to let you know I'm doing and you can't move on that.
No, worse.
Hey, tomorrow
worse.
we're taking that shelf out and this shelf is going in.
Emmet, it's worse because when that board of directors and they get their marching orders, they don't just say, hey, I'm doing this and you should do it too. They're saying you should do this. Period.
Well, I think 4 out of the 5 have 501(c)s attached to their business.
Yeah.
Right. So you can funnel all your money through your not-profit.
Yep.
And not pay any taxes on it. And, I don't want that business model.
No.
Well, yeah. I want to give a quick shout out real quick to Sean Hudachko, who has been dropping some really good nuggets of information on his Comics Elite IG page for retailers and people that are, business, small businesses type mindset stuff. And this was interesting. I want to play this for you guys and get your take on this. This is him talking about ego and how you treat people.
I'm currently running 4 different businesses. One is a printing company, Joint Force Printing. I wouldn't say I run it. My manager does a fantastic job of that. I have Joint Force Printing, Comics Elite, the main business, which is the website and a little bit of wholesale. And then we also have a publishing company, which is Merck Publishing, that has a imprint called Black Ops Publishing. And then there's also a horror line called Sinister Nightmare Press. That first book just finished up. And then there's also the Whatnot live selling side of things where we live stream on Whatnot. We have 5 different streamers that stream across 4 different accounts there. There's technically 4 different businesses. There's probably a couple more sprinkled in there, but those are the 4 that matter right now. I'm currently running 4 different.
Maybe that was the wrong one I posted, but he's dropping these little nuggets of information. Yeah. And this was a good post about him talking about how, like you were saying, Jesse, you can't just be running a comic book store. You got to have all kinds of different tools in that tool belt, right? And the online sales, right? The printing part, like you got to be able to pivot. We talk about pivoting all the time, and this is a great example of him talking about the other things that you need. You can't just be sitting at your comic book shop all day, right? That type of deal.
Yeah, here's a prime example. So this morning I messaged Sean and I said, first of all, I am going to be writing him a message after the show to coach him on his hand movement. But anyways, that's a separate story. So I messaged him. Yeah, exactly. He's like, wow, dude, I'm glad you're grasping those hands, but those fingers are still moving. I messaged him a question this morning. You know what he did? You know what Sean Hudachko did for Jesse James? He called me. He said, bro, what do you need? And I asked him, and we talked for 30 minutes. Right. And I said, well, I got to go. Some customers just came in. And he said, you call me back if you need help on anything else. That's how you become successful. Because what is he also saying in that video? I have 5 companies, but I will take time to help out a brother. And I think that's very, very important. People, I'm going to go on a tangent here. People stop giving him a hard time for going on vacation. All right. Yes, he's on vacation every 2 weeks, and I get it. And people get mad about that. But this guy has worked his ass off to be able to take Kimberly on these vacations. So don't worry about his vacations, sling books.
That's Jesse giving himself his own advice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm the wrong person. They're like, why don't you take a vacation? But anyways.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic. Dennis, you had a magnificent collection. Walk into the store. The
It did
new
no.
store.
It didn't walk in.
Oh, okay.
So I got a call. I was at the Monroe stores and I got a call from Toledo, and a gentleman was like, "Yeah, man, I got," and he didn't know how many boxes and he didn't know how many comics he had. And if you could pull up that first picture of everything laid out on the floor. And so I come, he goes, "You have to come over to my house." I was like, "Okay." So I come over to his house, and this is what I'm presented with. The room stinks of mildew. Old, musty comics, but also that little hint of there's a problem in here somewhere. So we negotiated back and forth. We came up with an amicable price for everything. And he said, I said, first of all, it's on the second floor of a house. It's already a half a floor up. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. He helped me carry everything down. But I look at this blue tote at the bottom here, and I'm like, that thing is going to be far too heavy. That is a 40-gallon tote full. And when we picked it, he was like, "Oh, no, that'll be fine. I carried it up here with my wife." And I'm like, "Oh, well, now I got to help him carry it down." That was, I ripped a muscle in my leg and wrenched my back carrying this giant tote full of shit. Right. But you can see there's some beat up Tales to Astonish on top. You know, there's a lot of 90s shit. There's an old Hulk over here.
Hold on. I got to ask you this question before you go for it. Did you guys carry this tote?
I'll be right back.
Down the stairs?
Yes. And so they were steep.
Create a slide with the lid to your long box there. You carried it down.
Yes, because
Okay.
he insisted. Okay. He insisted.
Okay.
So
I just was wondering. Okay.
And they were super old style, old house, narrow stairs. So it was a much.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And
sure.
so I had to pull it just to keep this 500-pound behemoth from crushing him at the bottom. And we get it out. And man, it felt heavier. It really did. It felt heavier than it should have felt. But we get it in, we start loading it in, and I get it back to the store, and that tote right there. And when Brian gets back, I'll have him pull up the next pictures. But in that tote right there, I just picked up a stack because that's where all the smell is coming from. The effluvia is coming up from this box. And I pick up a stack, and you will not believe what I found just picking up 50 books down into I think it was underneath that X-Men magazine there, that X-Men 2099, and then that 90s magazine, Hulk 181. And I'm like, holy shit. Now, part of it is I'm giving him another percent after I go through it. So he is getting more money because of that 181. But once
everything bag and boarded, they're all
not the only stuff bagged and boarded was a handful of books that came out in the 90s.
Okay.
So Brian, if you could pull open, go up a little bit. Like that long box had 90s books in it, and there's a handful of bagged and boarded stuff from the 80s over there and up in there. So I start taking apart that blue tote, and Brian, if you can get the next picture. That's what's at the bottom of the blue tote. Every book is literally black mold stuck together. They're all solid bricks. As you start to peel them, the back of the comic book is stuck to the front.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is an entire run of Steranko Captain America, completely dead. Roached. just horrible. And literally, if you remember the scene in the 1950s Time Machine, when he goes to the library, he touches the book and it's turning to dust.
Yep.
Every book was turning into dust as I was touching it.
Oh, that's why he put those books on top.
Yes, that's why he buried all of that, and that weighed twice as much. Every one of those boxes weighs twice as much because they're soaked. So go to the next picture, though.
Well, you have to subtract for that.
But there, and that's some of the books are just ripped up. If you go to the next picture, but then again, look what there. Mark Jewelers. But then he had boll weevils crawling through it and chewing. If you look at the Mark Jeweler.
Yep.
But then there's this. So if you just want to hit play.
It looks good.
And it's got the star stamp on it. I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. And then go ahead and just play that. No, play the last video. So every one of these is Mark's Jewelers.
Wow. Wow. Unreal.
Now, I rarely ever get Mark Jewelers.
30-cent
probably
variants.
only had 4 or 5.
I saw a British 9p too in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30-cent variant in there too. Yeah, you could tell he's military kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
He has commissary ones, and then he has non-commissary order Mark Jewels as well.
So yeah, the stars are from the commissary, right?
Commissaries, right.
Yeah.
And then the ones that have Mark Jewels, those are like the mailers and stuff that went out, or those are stuff that a sailor or a dude can order, and then it doesn't get stamped.
Brian, if you can pull up the big picture here. So the 181 has a giant stain across. Oh, that's Jesse's.
Yep.
No, pull up me on screen right now.
Oh.
On his main screen. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. You can see there's a water stain that goes through the whole book. There's a chip right on the edge, right up here.
Have
the back
Red Hood work his magic on that.
Yeah, the back has folding and chipping. But yeah, it's a 181 Mark Jewelers. It's I think the holy
with the
grail
star
of
on
Mark
it.
Jewelers.
Yeah. Yep. That's amazing. That's so cool.
Was that show that book, the front of that book again, Dennis, go up a little. Brian, can you put it on big screen? Okay, I was just looking at something. Okay, it was just the glare. Okay.
Yep, and then so
hold on, let me play this video.
However, so these are the keys that are in the rest of the collection.
Is the 180 a Mark Jeweler?
No. So the 180 is not a Mark Jeweler.
Unreal. What a collection, man.
Yeah.
And what it could have been was amazing, right? It could have been.
Yeah, if that whole bottom of that box wasn't as completely destroyed as it was.
You didn't throw them away, did you?
No, I've got them in my van, but I mean, dude, the smell is horrendous.
Right. Yeah.
Right. My buddy went through them and was like, I think I have mesothelioma just from going through this.
Yeah.
I think those ones that are stuck together, you could get apart.
I don't know, man. I mean, even if you got them apart, there's still black mold through every one of them. They're all bricked.
Yeah, and you technically can't sell that to the public.
Yeah.
Once you get it slabbed.
Yeah. the 182. So the 182 also has water damage all through the book, and it is a Mark Jewelers as well.
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. These collections, like, again, I've heard people say, oh, the collections are dwindling. Bullshit. listen, here's what happens with these collections. People collect them. They spend a whole lifetime putting these collections together. They die. Their family could care less about comics, and they don't want to spend the time to do the research. So where do they end up going? To you local comic shops, right?
I never told this. I don't know if I told this story on the show or not. Have you guys seen the Selling Superman documentary?
Yes. Yeah, we had those guys on Flipside, I think, early on.
Okay. Well,
before
that guy
the documentary came out.
That guy called me before everybody else. And the first thing I said to him was, you need to go through an auction house and you need to grade everything. And he still comes up to me at shows and is like, dude, you were the only one that didn't try to fuck me over when you found out about what I had.
How far is Toledo from where you, how far was your drive to go get this?
15 miles.
15 miles. Okay.
And like I said, I usually don't do house calls. The guy told me, yeah, I know. Thank you. Don't touch your face after handling that book till you wash your hands. I know. That guy had called a half a dozen places. Nobody wanted to come and look at it. We just opened. He just happened to be dropping his wife off and stopped at the mall. He dropped his wife off to work and stopped at the mall and saw, a new comic book store. And the first person was like, yeah, you know what? I could stop in there on my way down to Toledo. It's, halfway there. Give me your information and I'll come by and check it out.
Nice.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah. One of the funny things that the three of us has heard over the decades is I have a fantastic collection and I'm never selling my collection. There's no way I'll ever sell my collection. My collection is going to be buried with me. You're living in a different world, bro. Because the second you pass away, your kids are going to be walking in, your wife's going to be walking in. I'm ready to get rid of this. So you have a great opportunity to get that collection to a good home with a comic book store, get a little bit more for the collection, and get it in the right place. There will be collections throughout history in the comic book world that will always come up. The collection that just sold today, Dennis, that has that collection, that's going to go to a different home. And that home will eventually resell that collection 40 years from now or 30 years from now. One tip I would tell people, and this is just a tip I've always told people, if you're going to meet someone, always tell someone where you're going, leave them an address.
Yeah.
Right. Very, very important for a lot of you young buyers out there. Not to say anything will ever go wrong, but always leave the address that you're going to.
So one of the best collections I bought, and I have a top 5 collections that I've bought, but one of the best in that top 5 was this guy. And he would just come down and he'd bring a couple sacks full of comics. And when I say sacks, like brown grocery bags full of comics. And he bought 3 of every Dark Horse Star Wars, 3 of every Star Trek, Star Wars, Aliens, you name it. All the stuff that our generation, he was a little bit older than me, but, still in that generational gap. And we would sit down and we just talk about it as I was giving him a price. And I didn't find out till years later. So he passed away and I think it was his estranged wife, but it was his ex-wife or estranged wife. They'd been separated for quite some time, but he had apparently told her for several years, if anything happens to me, call that guy's card that's on the refrigerator. And he left my card on his refrigerator. And she called me up. She didn't tell me who he was. How she got a hold of me. And this was, I think I've told this story. It was a period of time where I had about $2,000 in my bank account, $2,500. I had $2,500 in my bank account. It was not a good year for me that year. And I did some math and I sat down with her and I was like, I wish I could give you more, but I can offer you $2,000 for everything, because I knew I was going to have to hire a crew and pay for a Ryder truck. And she went like this. For $2,000, you can have everything in this house. I was hoping that you would give me $1,000 so that I could pay a cleaning crew to get everything out of here so I could sell the house. And I said, well, I'll do one better than that. I'm going to have a crew over here. I'll clean the house out for you too. And we put everything we didn't want neatly on the road for the garbage men to take away. And we ended up taking 2 loads out of that. And she was ecstatic because I offered as much as I could for that collection. But then she told me, well, he always said you would be the best person to call. And he used to bring comic books down to you and you guys would and then all of a sudden I'm like, do you got a picture of him? And she goes in the other room and brings out a picture. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. Yeah, I totally remember that guy.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best collections I ever bought. I'm still selling that stuff.
Yeah. It is an interesting business. The turn of books that come into your store, you almost become, I don't know what the best word is. It's like when you showed me the 181, I was like, oh, cool. But it's not like I was 30 years ago where I'd be, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe I got a Hulk 181. But after you've seen them so many times, you still get excited, but you don't go, all utopia on it. But they're great finds. They're out there. Collections like that are.
And the craziest part, Jesse, is that Hulk 181 was 50 books down on that stack.
Sure.
100 books down on that stack. The water from those bottom books was seeping up to that next layer.
Sure.
It was within that much of being wrecked like everything else.
Right.
The fact that survived for me to get it and give this guy, extra money for it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's then go on to someone else and they'll be the gatekeeper of that book.
Yep.
But there's always things out there. There's always product. There's always someone having a sale. I sent Bryan a picture. This was my sale over the weekend, which was at my friend Aaron Halen, who I've known for 20 plus years. We're able to buy some ants, 8 short boxes, about 40 pops, whole bunch of Star Wars. You know what? I don't think he ever put my Star Wars figures in my bag. That Jamoke, he owes me
he's
10
not that
Star
good of a
Wars
friend that we thought he was.
Yeah, exactly. He kept those Star Wars figures, damn it. So I'm sure they're just sitting on the side. But the notion is you got to go out, folks, and when there's an event, you got to find ways to get out there. If you have the means to travel, if you have the means to look through boxes and can be patient, even though in that place there was at least 200 people, we still walked away with great product. Keep in mind, keys are only keys to people that want the book. For a retailer, all keys are important. If you go through that slide that Dennis had, many people would say, oh, Masters of Kung Fu. The hell would I want a Master of Kung Fu book for? Right? For us retailers, like, holy cow, I'll take those Masters of Kung Fu.
Hell yeah.
Transformers #1, that looks pretty cheesy. Who would want a Marvel Transformers? Where's the IDW Transformers? So again, we're able to look through a box and actually, we could have, the prime example is 100 people went before me, right? Because it started on Friday. Sunday, what do I end up getting? I get a set of Bad Planet sitting in front of a box.
Yep.
After 3 days of people looking through it.
Well, and it's Jesse, it's what we've been saying on this show for 70 plus episodes.
Yep.
Anybody could buy a Hulk 181 and flip it. But it's a good retailer who could buy a 5,000 book collection and sell 4,999 of them someplace else.
Exactly. A good person who's doing, Brian Pulido, ABS, always be selling attitude. Every book you should be able to sell and find a way to sell, whether you're bundling it, whether you're using it on a live stream as a bonus book to sell something, A comic book always has value no matter what. Again, I will say this, and it will be my number one seller every single year. Turok #1 is always my number one seller every single year. And, Bloodshot Zeros, great sellers. Why? Because a whole generation has no idea what chromium is. And I think that's the cool thing that we get to do. We get to show this younger generation new product. Older generation, hey, check out this lenticular cover. I love this week, this Saturday, we sold 3 Superman blind bags, white blind bag, poly bags, right? And I said, I'm going to tell you what, this is a blind bag. And I'm going to tell you what's in all 3 blind bags. And guess what? All 3 sold for $30.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Knowing what they're getting, but because of the excitement of blind bags and saying, you guys aren't the ones that created blind bags. We had blind bags back in the day. We actually had mystery bags in the 70s with the Star Wars and the Battlestar Galactica. Even though you knew what the third comic was in the middle, we've had that stuff.
Yep.
This isn't new. It's just done better, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Amen.
Well, you know what one did fall flat on its face? So DC did the Doom Patrol scratch off cover.
That one actually did really good. You're talking about the banana? You're talking about the one with the taco?
No, the one, not the one where you got the sticker.
Oh,
this
okay.
was the character. What is she called? Jane? Is it Jane? The crazy one, the multiple personality character. When you scratched off the mirror, she was looking in a mirror. That was silver scratch off. When you scratched it off, each one had a different character.
Yeah.
And I sold none of those. I
Yeah.
still have every single one I bought.
Yeah, look at all those Miss Mystics back in the day where they had the pixels and you're trying to, hold it different ways to see, okay, I know it's the body, but I got to figure it out. We should say hello to Jack in the room and congratulate him and the announcement of the company that he represents and brands very well. So congratulations on that, Jack. That was a great announcement today.
What happened? I didn't hear about it.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
So today it was announced, and I'm sure this was months in the working. There was a investment group that invested $245 million with Whatnot today, making it an $11.5 billion business. And so that shows the strength of live streaming. It also shows the strength of individuals across the nation who might not have comic book stores, that might be in the basement, who are still slinging great collectible book items.
I said it about New York Comic Con. I think the by far the biggest winner out of all of New York Comic Con was live selling platforms. It was by far and away the biggest winner at New York Comic Con. Whatnot did such an amazing job. Their whole setup was out of the park, amazing. Like just a grand slam home run, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, full count, Joe Carter style. And the Legend Has It book was the next biggest story of the con, right? Where they made this awesome hip hop oriented Marvel book, brought up all the hip hop greats with it. They had 2 or 3 of the biggest variants at the con. Whatnot is on fire, and they've done it in a way that, in my opinion, has caused me to respect them so much more than ever before, because they've been quiet about it, right? There's nobody out there yelling to the moon, this is what we've done, this is what we've done. Even Jack has kind of like backed off from going on shows and stuff and just letting his work show for everything. That's been the biggest difference of me between Whatnot when it first started and Whatnot now. They went, you know what? We're just going to let our work speak for itself. And
Right.
that's what they've done in a major fucking way.
Right. And I would want to point out something that our industry is technically against is new technology. And new technology, the use of AI and all the other components that come into play to make it a channel that is modernized to the way people purchase stuff. And I think that's very, very important to always be that 3-4 generations out of how does this look? How does this work on your phone? How does this work on your laptop? The social value of it. So again, congratulations on this. I actually got to hang out with Jack yesterday morning for an hour, had some fun and talked about the future of my company, my brand with Whatnot. So very, very exciting news. This is what we want to see. We want to see companies be very successful with other companies. That's very, very important.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Okay. What
do
you
you guys
disagree
disagree
about? Tell me
about?
what
Yeah.
you disagree.
Well, I think that they haven't been very transparent. I think that a lot of people scammed a lot of people early on. I don't think that they came to Jesus over it, which means there was any justice for it. If people lost their, it took a long time for people to lose their rights to be on Whatnot. There was a lot of what I call gambling, which I know that they've tightened up on now all of a sudden, and I would guess it was because
Not all of a sudden.
the
They've
funding was
tightened up.
coming up.
It's been a couple of years since they tightened up on that.
Just recently, they made the videos that I've seen from YouTubers who've had their accounts suspended was because that they weren't providing enough value. All of a sudden, they weren't giving the same.
I get you.
Even though
And that's also why they ended up having to partner with PSA to do third-party blind bags for cards, because people were.
I think that's a
loading
good thing.
Shit.
Is that
No,
not
it's
a
a
good
good
thing?
thing, but
Yeah.
that's only recent.
But where's the justice?
Yeah.
Right?
What justice?
You had all
What
these guys,
justice do you
like,
want?
filling their pockets. Well, so everybody who bought those should be refunded. Yeah, I know.
Okay,
It's funny
so-
because people don't ever take responsibility for corporations. This is a privately owned company, right? They did funding. This is their third or fourth round of funding, but yet they're valued at $11 billion. But they can't be profitable if they need funding.
Well, and I'm a little dubious as to. Obviously, they're putting big numbers on the board to attract $225 million worth of funding in this round, but that's with literally 2 weeks ago. eBay Live is coming at them in a big way, and
They're
Walmart.
onboarding a lot more. Yeah, and
Walmart
Live.
is coming at everybody in a huge way. Somebody puts 225 into that because they can't buy into Walmart and they can't buy into eBay.
Well, I'll say this: I'm not part of Walmart yet, but I have talked to quite a few people that have been in that process. I am just been recently onboarded onto eBay Live, and I've been part of Whatnot since the beginning, even though I did take a 1.5 year hiatus because of some of the things that I felt like Emmet was talking about was happening. And I'll say this, of the three, in my opinion, Whatnot is the best. They've had the most time, obviously, to make their product the best. I think eBay Live will end up getting there if they stick with it. They're going to have to go through the growing pains that Whatnot went through. But Whatnot is so freaking easy now to take part in, whether that's as a buyer or a seller, in my opinion. I think that they have cleaned up the bad actors in the comic world. I don't know about the other worlds. I don't pay attention to the other worlds that much. But I think in the comic part of their division, I think they've cleaned up the bad actors. I know they got rid of some of the people that were working behind the scenes that were the bad actors, in my opinion. And I think that they have made the app very easily functional for the buyer and the seller, which is really good.
Do you think it's a fair marketplace?
Totally.
Fair marketplace.
Here's
Okay.
why I think it's.
So if I have a bad night, they're gonna give me back all my.
Why is it up? Why is it up to them for you having a bad night? Hold on. Why is it up? Wait, hold on, Dennis. Why is it up to them for you having a bad night?
It's not. But they have been taking care of people who.
How?
Where's the guy from Hive?
James. What about him?
Yeah, he was on here when he said it.
What? So what did he say?
He had a bad auction over something, and they took care of him.
So that was
whether that was in product or in refund of his.
So that was for
apprentices.
So that was early on. I don't think they do that anymore. And the way that worked, from what I remember correctly, there was 2 people that I know that had this. They had a promotion where they said, "Hey, if you guys want to, we're going to do a slabbed weekend, and if you guys put up your slab books, if they don't sell for fair market value, we'll for some of the books that you have, we'll reimburse you the fair market value." So they did make it right to them. The same thing that you're asking for is what they did, and you're complaining about that.
That's not free. That's not a free market. That's giving.
But that's what you're asking for. You just said if I have a bad night,
not to the retailer.
James is a retailer.
To the customer. No, to the customer. The people who bought scam stuff in the early part, the customer paid for that. The retailer
and the customer got a great deal.
The retailer. Now, I'm not talking. They're 2 different subjects. We're talking about blind bags early on, blind cards, and all that. And
no, the thing you're talking about is that slab sale.
Yes, so I'm talking about the slab sale now. It's separate and different, right? I'm a retailer. It's my risk. I bring a thing. I'm the one that decides to be a part of that event.
Yeah.
Right. That's my risk.
Yep.
If people don't come, if I put something up on eBay for $1, it sells for $1. That's me. Right.
So how are they taking advantage of anybody by reimbursing them?
Not okay. So because it's not a level playing field. If they're going to reimburse everybody who doesn't get
when
fair
that happened,
value,
hold on. When that happened, there was only about 20 sellers on the comics app. So there wasn't a ton of people. And I don't know if they did that for everybody that took part in that weekend. Okay. I don't know about that. But that was very early on in the app. Okay.
What about are they pushing out the emails or the alerts? How do they push out the alerts for each different person?
For what?
About sales. When you're going to have a sale.
What do you mean? Like push notifications? So I will say this. Hold on. I talked to Davis Ryder and Comic Tom at New York this weekend. Davis had broken a record for something. I forget what it was. He had broken a record. And I specifically asked him, I said, "Hey man, are they giving you push notifications just like every time you go? Like, what is your relationship with Whatnot? Do they call you and talk to you and say, hey, let's do this, let's do this?" And Davis told me he never hears from Whatnot. So
okay, but he's
their number one seller. He's their number one seller, and he's not a YouTuber.
Can I just first say, finally, somebody else arguing with Bryan instead of me. But Bryan, I just want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
What did they do to stop a single person from opening up Mark Spear's blind bags for 2 weeks before the release date?
I don't know, but I don't think that is their problem to stop. That's the distributor.
I think we all discussed it on this show.
I don't think
you felt.
No, I don't think
people spoiling it should stop.
I don't think Whatnot should hold them accountable. I think the
breaking Street Date.
Yes, I think. Why should Whatnot hold them accountable? They have nothing to do with Street Date.
Because it's their platform.
No, that's a publisher and a distributor problem. That's not a whatnot problem.
Okay, so if somebody breaks street date on eBay and the person who's the street date is being broken against contacts eBay, eBay kicks that item off. I've had it
Bullshit.
happen.
I don't believe that for
Jesse,
a second
am I
because
wrong?
people sell cards early on eBay all the time.
I get intellectual property strikes all the time for selling product that shouldn't necessarly be on sale at that time. I've had it for 20 years on eBay. I don't do it anymore.
I've never seen that happen in the card market. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest problems in the card market is when places like Target and Walmart get their product early, put it out on the floor early, which is like what's happening with these Pokemon cards right now. As a matter of fact, let's see. What are those Pokemon sets that are coming out for Black Friday that have hit the market? What are those called? That's happening right now. I wonder if those are selling on eBay right now.
You can get them at Walgreens right now.
Yes, and
my whole point. Let me say what my whole point is. There is money being invested into live streaming. That's my whole point.
Yes.
And that's the future.
Agreed.
And if you can't accept the future, then don't do it. That's okay. But when people invest, investors are looking at something for a game plan in the future as far as investing in tech, making the tech better, investing in better team members, better employees. Emmet, what you are talking about, we are hoping that people are voicing their opinions to them so they can fix that in the future.
I'd just like to add one more thing though.
Yeah.
Whatnot's been around for 4.5 years. They started out with billionaire angel investors. They gave away Amazing Fantasy 15s at New York Comic Con. They gave away variants for their, partnered sellers. I was one of them. All honesty. At what point are they making profit? I mean, eBay is sinking their profits into eBay Live. Walmart is sinking their profits into Walmart Live.
How do you know that?
No, that's completely wrong.
eBay Live is a totally different offset from eBay proper.
eBay Live has given to sellers?
No. I'm not talking about them giving away stuff. I'm talking about profit. eBay is a corporation that is spending eBay's profit on building eBay Live.
Divisional profit. Yeah. So you got eBay proper. What you're saying is eBay proper is sending money over to eBay Live, regardless if they're bleeding money.
Right.
They're supporting that brand. That's what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And Walmart is taking Walmart's profits and putting it into Walmart Live. Giant booths on the floor, et cetera, et cetera. Where's Whatnot's profits? Where they are reinvesting.
That's why they have to do these rounds of funding.
Are they not investing that in the same thing that eBay and Walmart is? Didn't they have a huge setup at New York Comic Con that they invested in too?
Yeah, they did.
They did, but here's the thing: they didn't go out to the public sector or the private sector and say, "Hey, we'd like to do eBay Live. Can you invest money into us because we're not making profit enough to invest in our own potential?"
But they're a different type of company. They're not a big company like Walmart or eBay that has something behind them.
Two different divisions.
Yeah, they're a new startup. They aren't the two of the biggest businesses in the world that can just go. They're a new startup. That's how new startups work. Angel investors.
Yeah, if you ask me, the reason why it hasn't gone public is because they're looking to sell to Amazon.
Well, what does that matter? Does that matter either way?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it'll just be a lot more under Amazon. It would be a lot more.
Is Amazon any different than Walmart or eBay?
No, they're larger. But what I'm saying is that they would be a lot more strict and stringent and have more strict rules.
What I'm saying, and I'll just say it, is Whatnot has seemed like a pyramid scheme and a shell game for quite some time. And the fact that they have to go out and get $225 or $25 million funding on a round means there's not any real profit there to reinvest in this advance of the technology. it's not
Well,
performing.
we've seen the advance of the technology, though, blindingly advance of the technology. So if there was no advance of the technology, I might say, okay, you got an argument there. But their technology has advanced light years beyond any other, even themselves in the past. Whatnot is freaking amazing right now. So their technology has advanced. So maybe that's where they're putting their profit.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I
Time will
still,
tell.
yeah, I think what we still need to be talking about is live streaming, regardless of what the brand says,
I agree with that.
is
Yeah.
a hot commodity. If
Yeah.
you look at the stock market, what is the number one growing commodity, or not commodity, but the number one growing sector is
Social media.
AI technology.
Mhm.
Of course, military, that's always going to be up there, but AI and technology. Imagine when quantum comes, where would that be? So at the end of the day, everybody has their opinion of this. My whole point is congratulations on a live stream company proving that live stream can be successful universally, whether it's Whatnot, eBay, and QVC, and all these other things out there. The personal things, everybody has personal things on why they like and don't like a company, and that's fine. That's okay. When we look at eBay's problem is they are a strict company. And when you go to eBay, if you don't follow the rules, you're gone. That is why there is only 30 comic book sellers on eBay, because the
eBay
rules
Live.
are so
eBay Live.
eBay Live, because the rules are so strict.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
eBay Live is
so-
new, so they're going through their
Right.
growing pains, just like Whatnot did, which is
Yeah.
when most of the fuckery happened that you guys are, or that not you guys, but most people are mad about, right? I
Yeah,
don't think there's any fuckery that's happened that I can think of in the comic book area, other than like onesie twosies. There hasn't been any like really crazy fuckery going on in the comic book part of the world. I don't know anything.
eBay
Obviously,
has about
cards
3
in the
years, 3 more years to get to where they should be, and that's fine. And I don't have a problem with that. I sell on there 7 days a week. I'm happy. Got a great customer base. We'll be doing the same on Whatnot. We'll be doing the same on Walmart. And if Amazon wants to come in play, we'll be selling there. We're going back to Facebook Live as well. Anywhere that we can sell product, I'm happy to work with them.
And
That's
I know that there's this big hate for quote unquote celebrity being a part of the platforms. But here's the couple questions that I'm asking. What platform doesn't care about celebrity? eBay brings
I've
over.
never heard the complaint about celebrity.
My front door.
No. Metal Elf Comics says Whatnot profits off sellers and leverages celebrity above all. I think
It does.
I think all of those platforms, eBay Live, Walmart. If it wasn't, Todd McFarlane wouldn't have been one of the first people that Walmart brought over. Rob Liefeld, at first, was supposed to sign with eBay Live, and they fucked him around, and Whatnot stepped in. Like that.
That's not what happened. I was literally there, Brian.
You're the third or fourth person that said that to me, that they were literally there, and they're the reason that Rob Liefeld.
Okay,
is...
well, you got Jack in the thing. I said I'm going over to say hi to Liefeld. Jack, and I think it was Chancellor, said, "Oh my God, Rob? Can you introduce us?" I literally walked DeMeo and Chancellor, or not Chancellor, it's the other guy.
Chance.
I can't remember his name.
Chance.
No, it wasn't Chancellor. It was the big guy that would always shout out from the middle.
Can you go full screen with the four of us, Brian?
Yeah. So yada, yada, yada. I take him over. I introduce him to Rob. I tell Rob, you should totally get on this platform. Rob says, "Oh, I'm too shy for that." I'm like, you can do this, Rob. And they introduced, everybody said hi as we were walking back. And Jack can say he doesn't remember this all he wants. Jack's like, "If Rob comes on, we are going to take care of you." And then a month later, I'm sitting doing my live show, and everybody's like, It's very small in my chat, and everybody's like, Liefeld's doing a live stream. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, well, let's go check that out. And Liefeld's killing it, and I love Rob, and more power to him. And guess who didn't get taken care of for introducing him to Rob?
I've heard that same story from 4 other people, Dennis.
Okay, well,
I'm
Jack
not saying you're
DeMayo
lying.
can say I'm a liar in the chat.
I'm
Go
not
ahead,
saying
Jack.
you're lying. Hold on. And Jack isn't going to say you're lying either. But I'm saying that it's not black and white. There's not one person that made that possible. There's probably a bunch of people that made that possible.
Sure. And I'm sure there was a lot of negotiations.
Yes.
But this is the kind of thing I'm talking about.
What's that?
Our country is built on a free market, which means a free, fair, level playing field. And they haven't figured out how to do it. None of them have. eBay hasn't, because they've handpicked who gets to be on there.
Anybody can go on there and sell. Anybody from any place in the world.
Yeah, but eBay you can't, right?
Well, eBay's a new thing. eBay's a new thing. They're in their beta.
But on Whatnot, you'd still have to apply.
Do you? Right? I don't know about that. That's a great question. I would love to know about that. Like, what is their application process like now? Do you have, like, does anybody get approved? I would love to know that. But I feel like that has changed now that they're out of the beta stage.
Who's out of beta?
Whatnot.
Whatnot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that anybody can sell on Whatnot.
You know, and that's the other thing is that there's a level of that's not, even though everybody can sell on it, everybody should have a tax ID number. Everybody should have, at least a tax ID number and be
well,
paid.
yeah, you have to make sure somebody's not just going on there and selling Action Comics #1 for $1 million and then collecting the $1 million and sending them a brick in the mail.
You know what the #1 selling item, the #1 show on eBay was yesterday?
Socks.
Nope, but that was pretty close.
Shoes.
Nope. A guy in the #1 spot was selling hammers.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I got a lot of hammers. I can sell some hammers.
So that was very interesting to show the reach. At the end of the day, it's not, can anybody sell live stream? It's, should everybody sell live stream? Is everybody qualified to sell live stream? I don't know the answer to that, but there are people that probably should get back to just doing retail.
Yeah.
Right. And I think not every platform is for everybody. What I look at is as the industry as a whole. And if I say if something is worth XYZ, how do we get there? Now, don't get me wrong, 11.5 million is a great thing, but I just want to know how much the comic book division is worth. I don't care about the closed division. I don't care about the
Do you think that they know
division.
that? Do you think they break it up in divisions?
I'm sure they would. Yeah. Yeah.
They promote them.
They're going to have to, they would want to know so that they could put the money towards the people who are making the money.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Hey, Brian, I don't know if you want to get into this, but I had a really interesting email today, and I sent 3 pictures, and it's kind of the new way things are going to go down.
I think we should go to Unfiltered since we just haven't gone to Unfiltered in a month.
Yo, everything here is.
Valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
All right, there we go. Let's get into
before you do that, did we say hi to Nick Barucci at all?
We did not. Nick Barucci. How's it going, brother? Congratulations on, I saw you posted about the Warner Brothers blind bags, which is awesome. Congratulations on that. I know a lot of people are talking about the Vampirella blind bags. I think that if you signed up for the Vampirella ones, make sure you guys go and check out your what is that called that Kickstarter sends you? That you
Backer kit.
The survey. Make sure you guys go sign your survey so you get your product. Kickstarter, if you don't fill out your survey, you will never get your product. So heads up on that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. What is this,
I'm just
Dennis?
glad.
Okay,
I'm just
so
glad. Go ahead.
oh no,
No,
let me first say
no,
I am now partnered with PSA and I'm an affiliate program member. So this isn't me shilling. I just thought this was interesting to share. So I submitted, I think, 21 cards at San Diego Comic-Con at their booth. I think, Emmet, you were there when I submitted these. And so I just got the email about an hour before the show. And then I saw this little thing that says eBay offers. Click on this to see what eBay offers you've gotten. So I got a LeBron. Go back to the first one there. So they tell you what the estimate is for the card. So LeBron 2003 rookie. It came back PSA 6, real low. They tell you what the estimate is. It's about a $200 card.
Yep.
Then I've already gotten offers as
Without
that email
posting?
came through.
Yep.
No, this is people right now that said, I will buy that card right now.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, you haven't posted it on eBay.
Well,
No,
this is what's
these-
cool.
this is-
You got an
'Cause
offer
PSA?
for $216 on a $168 estimate.
I know. It's
Yep.
crazy. And then the other finest, one of them came back a 9, the other came back an 8. The 8 is $20 over
Yeah.
what the
Oh,
estimate is.
I'm about to send in 5,000 cards.
Yeah. And then look at this. So that Kobe Bryant, I'm not going to sell that because it came back way too low, but it's, his second year. It's his first finest. I'm just going to keep that and sell it in store cheap. The Gem Mint Pokemon card is $849. Actually, TCG Player has it closer to $900, $950.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that one. The other one, the Surging Sparks, that's within $40. That's within, 12%. If I put it on eBay, that's an offer right there that I would get from eBay. And then the last one is a $1,900 card, PSA 5 first edition Shadowless Blastoise. It came back a 5, which I thought was really low, but the estimate is $1,900 and somebody offered me $875. But this is one of the new things that's literally going to happen in all of these collectible spaces.
Yep.
Is all these people that are buying things, they have access to the second this grade goes live. And in the hour it took me to open up the email and see what my grades were, people were already offering me money for these cards.
Now, do you have to be part of that program that you're in? Or
No,
is that,
no, this is for anybody. I watched this on Neo, Cards of Comics. Shout out to Neo. And I was surprised when he was talking about it. And I didn't think anybody would want any of my stuff. And it was just shocking that I think 9 or 10 out of the 20 cards I submitted had offers within an hour of the grades posting.
Yes. So the new thing on eBay is you can have your items up, and what happens is if someone only looks at your item, doesn't put in their save, favorites, cart, anything, you can at that point make them an offer just because they looked at your offer.
Yeah.
And so every day we open up and we're selling, 60, 70 things to people that kind of just glanced. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are looking just to get the price, and obviously you're not going to sell those books to people. So as technology gets bigger, you need to invest in technology. It used to be invest in people, invest in people, invest in people. Now it's invest in technology and then your people, right? You can always get the tech person, but investing in technology, and it's not cheap. So these innovations of being able to reach out to people who aren't prepared to buy now are buying. In Dennis's case, it's not the notion that these guys are making offers. His brand just being looked at, his algorithms, his value on his brand will go up tremendously because of this. That's the more important thing.
Three Rivers Comics says raw comics prices are collapsing, in my opinion. That is very surprising to me because I see raw comics prices going up compared to slab prices. I would, as a matter of fact, for the vast majority of comics, I would crack out 9.6s and sell them as raw instead of selling them as 9.6s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the raw prices right now. Keep in mind, here's the problem that we face. I just got an email that's then completely throw me off. When you sell graded books, you bring down the percentage of buyers universally down to a very low number. When you sell raw,
sorry, I just looked at this. 0 fees if I sell it to PSA right now.
So that's going to PSA, not to buyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So now you sell raw, guess what? Your customer base goes up to about that high. You're now selling to everybody. Because why? Because the guy that's buying raw might grade it. So you got the grading customer here. Now you're picking up all the raw customers. We are in an industry that is very drastic. You have people that will say, I will never grade a book, and that's fine. But those are the people that are then be buying your raws. I would be very interested, Three Rivers, in what are you basing that on? Are you basing it on because you're selling more 80s and 90s and 2000 books or more 60s books? And that might be where we want to see where your increases are. And that's what's taken away from your 70s sales.
Yeah. Raw sales, like, as a matter of fact, raw sales have been so good for me that I dipped into my grading boxes to sell as raw because it's easier for me to sell them raw and than it is to send them in, wait for them to be graded. I'm not saying all books, but certain for books that were in my grading pile, it's much easier for me to sell them raw, and I'll get a decent price for them than waiting and paying all the extra fees and the time. So I think that raw sales, I've seen more people also, and this is a lot of people that were graded only collectors that are not only cracking out books, but they're changing the way that they collect. I've seen a lot of
best investment is a non-graded book.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a future investment, non-graded books are your best investment.
Always. Yep. Always. There is a point that I want to bring up about live sales. A good portion of live sales and the value of the product is the presenter who's presenting it.
Of course.
Right? If you suck at selling, that's why your book's going to sell for low. If you know how to sell, if you know how to be energetic and involve your community and know how to promote that 70s sale,
or recognize signs.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get top dollar. It's just going to happen. But if you're going to do a live show and you're going to say, oh, I got this book. I can't believe you guys are only at $5. No.
Oh, the angry guys. People tell me about, I don't watch Whatnot, but boy, my customers do. They're all on there. I mean, I get it. I mean, it is a competitor of mine, but.
Are you sure they're just not sellers who lost their Wi-Fi after driving 12 hours to New York City?
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's very interesting. Also, keep in mind, this is where I disagree with. Now, I do have a disagreement with live selling. Live selling, if you sell a New Mints 98 for $700 on Whatnot, or if you sell it on eBay Live, guess who gets the pub for that? Whatnot. eBay most of the time. Oh, look what that New Mints 98 sold for. Sold for $700. I mean, Bryan shows a little bit different, and he'll say, oh, XYZ sold it. But those platforms are getting credit for selling those products. Where it really hurts is the guys that do live show 1, item 5, where there's no identity to that new Mutants.
That's why
98.
data,
So,
that goes back to that data.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. So
yeah.
data is very, very important. So we are in a world where we're always the best salespeople, right? In our store, we should be the best salesperson. I don't care. Your best person walks in, you're better than them. And so we should be always able to get top dollar on our product or close to it. And that's based on excitement, being your brand, because people like to buy from the owner. They love that, right? So if you're losing money, I would not look at it as an industry as a whole. I would look at it as a brand, and how do you better yourselves by just being maybe a little bit better brand.
Or look, if you're predisposed to graded books, like you got into the business when graded books took off, or you made a lot of money, and you're kind of married to them, that's pretty much the business you build, right? The people that come in your
Right.
store, no, that's your brand. Your brand is graded books.
Yep.
So your non-graded books, if you don't think they're good enough to grade, your customer doesn't think they're good enough
Right.
to grade. So they're
Right.
not buying them at a higher price. It's that too. Like I get above average price for my ungraded books. I don't get the graded price, but everybody knows I don't grade anything. So when they see a book on there and we go over it and we look at it, cover, open up, look at the pages, you know, they know that I'm selling them a good quality book. They pay up.
Right, exactly. And the interesting thing that you just said, you're talking about a relationship buy that is, could be a day, could be 5 hours, could be 20 minutes. We're talking about live streaming where we're selling these books in 25 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to create value, relationship, brand in less than 20, 25 seconds. And that's the interesting part of live streaming. That's why a lot of people should not be live streaming. And then there's also a lot of people that should be live streaming that aren't live streaming. But you got to go at the pace you're comfortable at. No one should tell you you should be selling on whatnot. You should be selling on eBay. You should want to do that.
Well, speaking of speculation and the hobby, the president of Upper Deck put out a post that a lot of people in the card industry are talking about right now.
I saw this, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. So this is very interesting. I'll read it for you guys. This is from Jason Massara, president of the Upper Deck company. Everything speculative is up right now. The stock market, Bitcoin, trading cards, and it's pricing some collectors out. Here's what the data shows. 50% of consumer spending in the US is coming from 10% of the population. Rich people are carrying the market, not just in cards, but across every category. Concert tickets, $1,000 for nosebleeds. Luxury goods, selling faster than ever. High-end collectibles, moving at record prices. When boxes cost $1,000 or more, you're not buying for fun anymore. You're speculating. You're betting that what you buy today will be worth significantly more tomorrow. And that works until it doesn't. Sports cards have always had speculation built in. You collect a rookie hoping that they will become a Hall of Famer, but what's happening now is a different in scale. And when the markets become this speculative, they become fragile. I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm saying we need to be honest about what's happening. This isn't sustainable growth by collectors who love the hobby. This is wealth concentration driving prices that most people can't participate in. And if that money suddenly moves elsewhere to bet on something else, will we feel it? What are your guys' thoughts?
100%. I love this guy. He is dead on at what I've been saying for the whole time. That's the whole grading market, moving things 10 times. When you're getting 10x because it's graded, they're 2 9/8, one ungraded, the other one graded. Everybody's like, well, the ungraded one's not a 9/8. Why? Because this company who came out of nowhere says it is. They had grading way before the grading companies. And this is what happens. This is exactly what he's talking about. Is it all comes down to one group. If they're what's keeping the market going and we're not making more readers and the speculators move as soon as the market dips. They're out. They've made their money. They want to move it into something that's a better choice. The entire market will crash, and you want to see people go out of business. Guys who've bought books at 60 and 80% because they can move it fast after they grade it or try to get 10x. It'll flatten the market quick.
Yeah.
When was the worst time in comic book history for selling?
90,
I was going to say
98,
97.
99.
How
Yeah.
many sellers did we have?
That's when it started going from 5,000 down to
No, it went from 10,000 to 2,500.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So a lot of this is not based on the 1%. It's based on the mass amount of people that think they can sell product and they mass buy. And that's the more problem that we face going in the future. The books that the blue chip buyers are buying, the people that have a whole bunch of money, those books can be resold down the line. Listen, they sell it for less. It's a tax write-off. It's not a big deal to them. So I think where we feel the pressures is those 77,000 people that are selling comic books, that 70,000 have never read a comic book.
Well, I disagree, Jesse. It's a much bigger number. To me, the easiest number that I can extrapolate is 100 million people went to go see the Avengers and paid $10 a piece to see the Avengers, making it $1 billion. 100,000 people bought a comic book from the 1,200 to 1,500 comic book stores when the Avengers came out. Okay. There's a much bigger number on the upside that isn't touching the 1,200 comic stores. I've boiled that down to what I call the 1,000 customers. 1,200 comic book stores are chasing that one customer who wants the new product. Stores like myself, stores like Jesse's, partially Emmet's, are looking for those 999 that aren't going into a comic book store and buying an Avengers comic, buying a Batman comic. And until the industry starts trying to figure out how to make 999 people, trying to take one of those 999 people and figuring out how to move them into that other one column, we're never going to have a industry like we want.
Right, but whose job would that be to do that?
Me, one person at a time.
Right, exactly. So it's the
or you would think ComicsPRO. You would think ComicsPRO, if they listen to shows like this.
Wrap around. That's called a wrap around, folks. We have wrapped around the show just based on that comment. So yeah, I'm always cautious with people that are cautious, right? And I think at the end of the day, what we have to do is try to make sure that people that really want to be part of this industry and sell books and have the fun part of it are in this industry in the end. The people that come in and they're over at, Walgreens right now buying the whole thing of mystery packs of Pokemon. They're only in that until they no longer fill those things.
Right.
And then they're off to selling Slinkies or something else.
Yeah.
So I would say what we have to be careful is the overflooding of sellers in a very small community of sellers. And that's where we have to watch ourselves. And I think it's very, very important.
I think there should, maybe not in every town, but definitely every county in the country should have a comic book store, because each one of those will make a few more readers. And
do you know how many cities there are in the United States?
A lot.
17,565.
But didn't we at one point have 15,000 comic stores?
Oh yeah,
In the
way
90s?
over that. Yeah,
Way over that, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, it could get back there. I mean, there's certain towns that have 5 comic shops in them.
Yep.
My county has 5 comic shops in it now. But yeah, it's every time there's a comic book reader made, I have a shot at a new customer.
Right. So let me
Whether
ask
it's
you this.
online, whether I sell to them online
Right.
or in my store, I have a shot at a new customer. So what we need to do is make more customers.
Right. So a tangible customer isn't as they're just as important as an intangible customer. So you got your tangible customer, but you also have you have an intangible customer who's in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yep.
That's just as important to you. And that's the world we're in now. So I always said when live streaming started, that was for orphan customers that didn't have comic book stores. But then what we started to find out, we're selling a lot of stuff to Texas. And a lot of this stuff is going to Houston. A lot of this stuff is going to LA. There's a lot of comic book stores, but that's when your brand, that's when your personality comes into play. So,
well, they've made a lot of customers, and then maybe they don't do back issues, or maybe they don't have a lot of back issues because they have a lot of competition for the back issues in their area. So that they're getting something they can't get. If they could get it at their local comic book shop, unless their comic book shop are assholes, they would probably get it at their local shop. But part of the buying online too is the whole, the brosphere of like calling you out in the chat for buying, and when you enter the chat, and it's all that. It's the more of the, it is comic books are a community. Some of it is fake, and some of it is in that brosphere of like, hey,
but
I'm
Whatnot
a really
didn't
cool
change
guy.
that. I don't think Whatnot changed that. I think that
No,
yeah.
that can happen anywhere. But like, those guys came in as profiteers, right? They came into the comic world not really knowing a lot about comics, but they know that they could get their hands on some comics. They could go to old shops and buy dollar books and sell them for $5 or $10 on Whatnot. And that's not Whatnot's fault, and it's not it's just a fact that our community has a good number of nerds in it who want to feel like they belong. They kind of want to feel cool. And if a guy who doesn't look like he's a comic book seller, he doesn't look like a regular comic book guy, is embracing all these people, he spends maybe a little bit much time in the gym, maybe takes a little bit too many steroids, and then he starts calling, right?
Let me tell you this story today. So I had
because I saw them at New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
at their table,
the dude bros.
The dude bros, man, they were driving me crazy. Look, I can't believe I got this. The whole fake excitement. It's all set up, and they're all like,
so
oh,
today I was sitting in the back sorting some books, and I heard this guy asking about boxes, and I figured he was asking about Pokemon. And then I heard this loud clink, which is somebody touching our glass locks, locks up against our glass doors on our Pokemon cards. So I popped my head out, and there's these two little kids, 4 and 5 years old, and they're slapping their hands all over my glass cases. The mom's got one of those wagons that you haul your kids around in, and the dad and the mom are both up at the counter looking over all of our Pokemon packs, our ETBs, and we price most of it to market price. So there's no super deals to be had. It's mainly to have it, for sale. And as as my employee is talking to him about, no, this is all the boxes that we have, and he's trying to read off the prices of the ETBs we have, the kid bangs the glass again. And I know this is their kids. They got the little wagon behind them, and they don't even look. And it happened again. The other kid on the other side of the case is banging the glass. And I'm like, I'm like that far, because I know these guys are just trying to, scalp what I have mispriced. And then as they turned their attention to me, because clearly I'm the owner and the employee wasn't. And well, how often do you get in new stuff? And I'm like, well, it's whenever somebody brings it in, or that sort of thing. And then the kid bangs the glass again, the hardest that they've banged out of the 5 times that they've been banging my glass. and they don't even look at their kid. And that's what I kind of like, excuse me, little boy, please don't touch the glass. Those are very fragile and they can break. And they were so offended that I talked to their undisciplined little child that they scooped up their kids, threw them in their wagon, and walked out of the store.
Good.
And I'm like, look, don't come into a store expecting to find bargains and letting your kids bang on all my shit, because you know damn good and well, if they knocked that case and broke the glass or something like that, they wouldn't be paying for a new glass door for me.
No, absolutely. You know, there's a question in here. So when was the best time for sellers of comic books? You know when the best time of sellers of comic books was? My first day, January 25th, 1982, and every day afterwards. Every day is the best day to sell comic books. There is no lull in selling comic books. And that's my answer to that. So.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing is kids aren't reading comic books like they did when they were kids. You know why? Because we don't have shows like that we watch or that grew up in when it came to G.I. Joe, Transformers, right?
He-Man.
So we related to the comic book when we saw it.
There's no synergy anymore.
Right.
The comic industry is not creating that synergy with the pop culture that's being created today. There's not an ongoing Minecraft comic. How crazy is that?
Or Roadblock.
Or Roblox.
Roblox.
You know, how crazy is that? The Weeknd created Starboy, I think 8 years ago, 7 years ago. Marvel hasn't gone back to the Weeknd and said, hey, can we follow that up again? You know what I'm saying?
Or how about like if you put Roadbucks in a Roadblocks comic, I don't know how many I'd have to buy. I think I'd have to buy
1,000.
1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Because parents are paying for
and let's face it,
and getting nothing else.
Darren Davis can crank out 100 new titles every month, or 50 new titles, 20 new titles. He just posted 8 new titles that are coming out.
Yep.
And thankfully none of them were IP theft. Good job, Darren. But if he can crank that many out, Marvel should be able to crank out a Roadblocks and a Minecraft and a.
You guys are saying Roadblocks. What is Roadblocks?
It's a video game where you.
Well, we know you're not a pedophile, Brian. Good job.
Throwing us off. It's a game that the characters kind of look like the Minecraft characters, but there's every kind of game you can play in it. So you can play soccer, but the soccer has you can have all these different powers when you're playing soccer.
Okay,
and
let's
racing. And
break it down to the controversy of the day. So Jeff Hansen has been going on Roadblocks, the Jeff Hansen of To Catch a Predator. And all of these pedos are going into the chat rooms with these kids that whose parents just put Roadblocks on their tablet and let them go. And all kinds of craziness is ensuing. Somebody did a documentary about how Roadblocks is all these kids and these predators are going into it, and they got shut down on Twitch for some reason for doing this documentary. And it's really weird, but kids love it. And the fact that we can cultivate that audience into, I'm not saying grooming, but if we can cultivate that audience into the comic book world. Oh, it's Chris Hansen. Thank you. Sorry, Joel. It's like, hey, why aren't we trying?
Yeah. I mean, my granddaughter doesn't play it anymore because she's now 14, but my nephew's kid is 9 and he plays it incessantly. Like
Yep.
it's the only thing he goes on to play, because you can play any game, right?
Yeah.
You go in today, I want to play soccer. Tomorrow, I want to race a car. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then they're just buying skins with road bucks.
Yep.
So if you put the same value of road bucks as the comic is, because it costs,
Well, it's like
nothing.
those what's that other game that everybody plays? Fortnite. It's
Yeah.
like when Marvel did the Fortnite drops.
It was huge.
It was
Well,
huge in
DC
comic
was
stores.
bigger for me than
Yeah.
Marvel, but yeah, you know.
Mm.
And the funny thing is that the Harley Quinn skin was what everybody was after. These 12 and 13 and 14-year-old boys all want the Harley Quinn skin.
Yeah. But that's the
Interesting.
market, and the fact that they're not going after it. And here's the thing. And the fact that ComicsPRO doesn't have a 1-hour comic book session saying, where is the next market? Here. Why aren't we going there? To when they have the audience of all these publishers captured.
Right.
That's what I'd be doing.
It goes back to Dungeons and Dragons, and you walked in and you had a choice. You had a black dice or a white dice. And you go in and you lose a 20-sider black dice. You go back in the store, you buy, well, I got a choice, white and black. And then one day there's a blue. And you're like, holy shit. There's a blue dice? Who the hell came up with that idea? Right?
It's really funny because that exactly thing I did when I
Yeah.
was a kid.
I remember seeing I'm like, what the hell? That was like technology to us.
Yeah.
How did they make a blue dice?
Wow.
You know,
We're
that's
a
the world
creature
we
of
live in.
habit. We do not like change. That's for sure.
Yep.
So very, very interesting.
I love change. I love mixing it up.
I only
So-
have 3 things to show real fast.
All right.
All right. First thing I have is I picked up these for $1 each. Bad
Awesome.
Planet set from my good friend Aaron Halen at Ultimate Comics. He had $1 sale. This was seen in front of the boxes. So I did pick up that set. Just amazing
Thomas,
fun. Actually,
written by Thomas Jane.
yeah, what's funny is I held it up in front of about the 100 people in there, and I said, you all folks missed out on this book. And then one guy's like, I would really love that. And I said, well, once I
Too
pay
bad.
for it, it's $300.
Yeah. Isn't
So
there a
that's-
Dave Stevens cover in that?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
his last work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final cover.
I prefer the second cover, but
Yeah. The second one,
yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
cover, man.
number
Number 2.
2.
Number 2.
Number 2 is, I can't see, I'm in the dark. What the hell? Where's number 2? That one. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, very cool. And then I picked up these programs at the same event. These are the San Diego promos.
Oh, yeah. The 70s.
Yeah.
I want an
This
original
is
one.
from 1979. That's
Oh,
the promo
I
from
fucking
1979.
love
Did
those
you,
things.
did you flip through to see if there are any autographs or sketches in those?
No, not yet, but I was then planning on doing that after the show. 1973.
Jesus Christ.
This is
These are all when
from-
they're still called the Golden State Comic Con, aren't they?
right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that's the next one, Golden State.
Yep.
Yeah. I love those things. Those and
Yep.
zines are my favorite.
Founded by Shel Dorf, Detroit native, who put on the first comic book convention in the world, the
Yep.
Detroit Triple Fanfare, before moving out to San Diego to retire with his parents.
And then I also got the sign up forms.
Nice.
To buy your tickets.
How much was tickets back then?
Tickets back then.
$5?
It was, let me see if it says on here. It doesn't say, but it does say if you donate blood, you get your tickets for free on here.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, so you get that. And then you had a variant cover, which was green versus the brown.
It looks like it's signed.
No, it just says the date on the bottom. They handwritten the date. 1977. And then they also did a progress report, which is kind of cool, kind of what maybe ComicsPRO can do going forward with the progress report. 1978 and 1979 by Scott Shaw. And then my final thing, you know, I've done this for 43 years. I don't remember this coming this way. That is the Spawn.
I've
number
got 10
one.
of those.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a pedigree still.
So that's the first one. So do you want me to tell you the story
There's
of this?
3 of them.
Is that a VHS?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a VHS.
I've got 10 of them less than 5 feet away from me.
So one of my mentors is Paul Burke. I've mentioned him on the show many times. He was McFarlane's CEO for the first toy company, McFarlane Toys. Set up all of that. He was one of McFarlane's art managers. He set up all of these, and he knows the print runs of all the Spawn books, which once he gets better, he's going through about right now. So thoughts out to him. We're going to get him on the show so he could talk about all this stuff. But he partnered with Stan Lee to do that entire video series that they put with those comic books, because they're all made by Staber. If you hold that up again, Jesse, you'll see Staber Press. No, the Spawn.
Staber.
Stabur, which stands for Stan and Burke. Staber Entertainment. And they wanted to have this thing to help promote the comic books for Image. And they produced this video series so they could include the comic book to have more ways to sell Spawn #1.
And the little pamphlet in there, Jesse, if you hold that up to the camera and turn it around in the back.
Yep.
That little pamphlet that says Spawn on it, the Crusade Comics Spawn, is a huge collectible for Spawn collectors.
Yep.
So there you go. Pretty cool. All right. Emmett, you got anything?
I sent it to you on Instagram.
All right.
I'll go while you're looking for that. I have 2 small things, but I just had to show them off. So
he has that huge collection. He shows us.
You know, that's just
yeah.
junk.
I just, as long as it's not
181 Hulk 181.
Yeah, you know. Steelbook They Live.
Is that a reissue from Japan?
No, this is the American Steelbook 4K Blu-ray by Scream Factory.
Okay.
So these are short print.
Yeah.
Blu-ray box sets.
It is a very hot item right now.
Yes. I'm going to watch this because it's got tons of extra footage in it. And then this is the dumbest thing, but it came through and it just brought back fun memories for me. And I'd never known it existed. But it kind of goes along with my Spinal Tap aesthetic of, loving Spinal Tap. How many of you remember the SNL skit with Christopher Guest and Billy Crystal? I hate it when that happens. Does anybody even remember this? So it was these 2 characters who are usually like night watchmen or delivery people. And they're like, do you hate it when you're got one of those, you mean X-Acto knives? Yeah. And you're going between your toes and you go, yeah, to get out the fungus. And then you take some Tabasco, take some of that and then the Tabasco sauce. Yeah. I hate it when that happens. They made a 45 out of that comedy bit dub version. I've never seen this.
Oh,
ever.
That's cool with the old kicks. The old.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And it's just the little, it's Rule 36, the little things. I saw this and it brought back all the memory. I watched all those clips on YouTube and I'm taking this home. This is going home with me.
Nice. All right. So Emmett, this is what I've got. So it's a
Oh, it should do the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it's on the next page. And it is the 2 turntables. Keep going down.
2 turntables and a
Right there.
microphone.
It's that one, yeah. And so I just won this. I got to go pick it up tomorrow at 9:40 in the morning.
Nice.
Get 2 Techniques turntables, a bunch
Nice.
of vinyls, and 45s.
Oh, Boston.
Yeah, I bought, but I don't care about the vinyls. It was the 2 turntables, and then I also sent you another.
What did you pay for that lot?
$25.
Oh, gorgeous.
Wow.
And then I picked up Evil Ernie 1, 2, and 3, and that was the other
Nice.
Instagram I showed you. But I sent you probably from my other one of my other accounts. But
Let me see here. Hold on. Oh yeah, right here. There you go. Not bad. I love these books so much.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the first time I've had these 3.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Up here in the Northeast, you really don't see a lot of the Eternity stuff. I don't know why.
Okay.
I sold a 9.6, I think, for like some ridiculous amount of this book, like crazy money, like $2
Yeah,
grand. Or
I have the
something.
set. I have the set for 800 right now. The whole.
I've
all
got a
3 of them.
set that I'm waiting to take to Brian and have him sign them all.
I
Yeah.
told you about that story where I was showing Brian one, and so I turn around and talk to someone, and he's signing it. I'm like, "What are you doing? I want the only one not signed. Sign everything." Just so you know, these 2, which is kind of neat because back in the day you had green. Can you put this on the big screen? You have 2 different covers here. So it's kind of like this one's a variant cover and not. That's a Neil Adams cover.
Oh, he phoned it in on that one.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
garbage.
That's really early. Anyways, very, very cool.
Yeah. For those
Yeah,
of
I
you guys
love
that
those
don't
things.
know, Neil Adams got his start in Archie's joke book, Jughead's
Yeah.
joke book, I think.
Oh, and one of the comics I got in that collection, Brian, you'll love this. It's the I can't remember what book it is, but it's the one where Frank Miller wrote into the letter section.
Amazing Spider-Man number 159.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I have it in Mark's Jeweler.
Not bad. I think it's that. Let me look that up. Spider-Man. Is it 158?
It's somewhere in there.
159, I think. Let me just double check. Hold on. For those of you guys that don't
But when
know,
I was going
is
through Key Collector,
there is a Beyond Wednesdays comic creator first comic list that you guys can find in the link in the description below, that I am going to be working with Nick from Key Collector on doing a special thing on the Key Collector app for this. But let's go take a look. Frank Miller, I think it's 169, but let's just double check.
That seems like that would be late for as old as Frank is.
The Cat number 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 169, I believe. So I don't know why I don't have the other one.
I'll have to get that for you because I think it's the Amazing, because I didn't get a cat. So
yeah, 169. This is the one that has the Frank Miller letter in it right here.
That's the one.
Yeah, the Cat number 3 and this from a young Frank Miller. Todd McFarlane also wrote into 2 comic books as well, and so did George R.R. Martin when he was a kid.
Yes.
Yep. So
And so did the Peonies.
the who?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Wendy and
Velvet.
Richard. Yeah.
That's how they met each other.
Hey,
That's
did
how
you
they
ever
got
hear
together.
the story about the serial killer who wrote into one of the old horror?
No.
It's a story out there. I don't know enough to tell you, but there was a serial killer who read this comic book. If you just type in serial killer golden age comic book, and apparently the FBI, the editor or the publisher didn't realize it, but they think this guy, well, he definitely read the comic because he killed somebody in the manner in which the comic book killed somebody. Then he wrote a letter to the editor. And then they kind of went back and was like, oh, wait, this guy wrote about that story and the killer killed like that story. we think this is the guy, but they couldn't track down who it was. And somebody wrote a novel about it.
That's cool.
I like back in the 70s when you wrote in and they wrote your name, your full address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but well, because everybody had their address in the phone book. Why? It wasn't a secret back then.
Right.
That's cool.
For you youngins, a phone book is a yellow book that has color ads, and they had all these great. The great thing about the phone books was the pizza ads always had the coupons, but you could use them all year until the new one came out. So that was the cool thing about it.
So I only have one pickup that I want to show just because Jesse is here. PSA lost these originally. I sent them into PSA. They lost them originally. I ended up contacting them. They ended up finding them. And I got them back recently. They sent them to me ungraded after they found them. So I took them to San Diego and I said,
nice.
Let's get these graded. This is one of the final games for the Montreal Expos, a full ticket from 1999 versus the San Diego Padres. Came back a PSA 9. This is the 3,000th hit game of Tony Gwynn.
Nice.
Wow.
And then this one is for, Kansas City Royals versus the Minnesota Twins in 1996. This is came back a PSA 9. This is the 3,000th hit game of Paul Molitor.
Oh.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but here's the problem with these. PSA, what are you doing? You should put all the tickets the same way. They flipped them.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, the header is on the left, and this one, the header is on the right. Like, what are you doing? They should both be like this. With both
And the header
on
should be across the top.
Yeah, so
very cool.
that's pretty
Awesome.
good. Jesse, you got to
That's
figure out
very
what you want me to do with those. They don't sell for much. I was surprised. They sell for about $200, $250 a piece. They should be much more. I don't think people have given enough credit to 3,000th hit game tickets, but those are pretty cool, especially being full tickets and PSA 9s. But it is what it is.
Do we have a score at all?
Toronto won. Toronto won.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. So is it
Vladdy,
3-1?
No, it's 2-2.
Dodgers?
2-2.
Oh, 2-2. Okay.
Vladdy hit a homer off of Shohei. Shohei struggled on the mound and in the batter's box. So, but yeah. So that being said, you guys, we will see you guys tomorrow night. Will Jack is going to be joining us. An amazing artist who has just blown up over the last year and a half, just killing the cover game. So he's going to join us tomorrow night on the Wednesday night review show. And then I believe I will be on eBay Live on Thursday night with a card sale, which is awesome. I will be doing football and baseball. I'll have a ton of Shohei, a ton of Vladdy, a ton of Dante Bichette, Cal Rowley, Julio Rodriguez, all kinds of great cards will be available. That'll be Thursday night. And shout out to everybody who is waiting for the Harley Quinn Elvira comics. I'm shipping, packaging up and shipping out about 20 a day. And I'm hoping to have everybody's out by the end of this week. So thank you for everybody that ordered those. We have not received our medals yet, and I am waiting on some replacements for some damaged. But for the most part, everybody should be getting theirs by the end of this week. So thank you guys for helping to support Beyond Wednesdays, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 87 of the Industry of Comics Show. Adios.